Let me know if you continue to have these dreams.
Okay, Captain. He just kind of goes back to looking into his ball.
Okay. So, Sherry, you find that map yet?
I don't have a dang map. Let's
right
go
back.
outside and see what we can. Hush up.
Okay.
Do you need help finding a map, Sherry?
Yes, I do need help finding said map that you're looking for. I just woke up. My head hurts. Give me some time.
Okay. Finn's gonna hop, or I'm gonna go get a map. You guys can hang out here if you want, or you can come with. I'm gonna go find a map.
We can't go with Fernand.
Okay. Keys and Finnan are preparing to depart the boat. Does anyone else want to go with them while they do? They intend to go shopping for a little bit, it sounds like.
We need to find a map.
I'm
Well-
staying with the boat.
Last time we
Stick-
had multiple people go with the captain. The boat was left unattended, and perhaps maybe I'll stay this time.
Okay.
I
So
scoff at Rick. I think.
if you would go ahead and make a this would be an intelligence check, and I'm just trying to think of what the best skill this would be, because you're either going to give me an investigation check or a survival check. Let's make it an investigation check. You're trying to go and scout out in this city you've never been
Dude,
to.
I would literally just go to a general store and start asking for a map.
Okay, that might take longer, so it's up to you. Roll me a d6.
All right, I'll just do fucking survival. Do you want me to do D6 or survival? Or
If you're not gonna make a roll
I'll make
for
an
the knowledge
investigation roll.
check, I
I'll
need you to
do
make
it.
it. Okay,
I got a
it's
13.
up to you. You got a 13. So roll 2 d6s and take the lower number.
I got a 5.
Got a 5. It's looking like this is going to take you a couple of hours. You go to several general stores and you keep asking about maps for the jungles, and they're able to give you maps of the city. They're able to give you maps of other cities on the island. But whenever you start asking about the jungle, they're kind of like, there's not really much that we're supposed to have documented. We've got a couple of trade routes, but most of it's the river, so we
Is
don't
there a
really
Thieves
have
Guild?
good charting.
Is there a library?
There would definitely be a library. Who am I answering first? For the Thieves Guild or for the library?
You can go with the library first. You already answered them.
All right. So there would definitely be a library. It's going to take you guys a couple of hours between going to different stores and now going to the library. Probably around about noon by the time you guys get there and start investigating that.
Excellent. Well, considering I do not know the language, I'm hoping that the librarian does know my languages.
Okay, yeah. You're able to communicate and kind of just talk to people, and most of them point you to. And it's a big building, and obviously, as you walk in, you can see that there are a lot of desks and things that people have gotten scrolls or other manuscripts laid out and are doing scholarly work. And those are just kind of put in rows at the front of the building. And then as you walk back, there's sort of a desk where you see a particular scholar, an older woman with silvery hair tied up in a bun and spectacles at the end of her nose. She kind of looks up. Oh, good afternoon. How may I be of service? She says this to you in common, so she can tell that you're a human and a turtle. She doesn't try to speak to you in Elvish.
Oh,
Finnan will speak back to her in Elvish.
No, I don't understand Elvish, Finnan.
Finnan will speak back to her in Elvish. How do you do, ma'am?
She very quickly says, "Oh, arigato gozaimasu. I'm sorry, but this gentleman has asked that I speak in common, and per the lady of the Housekedan's orders, we are to accommodate our guest. How may I help you today, sir?"
We're looking for a map of the jungle. Can you assist us with this?
Oh, of course. Would this be the western jungle or the eastern jungle?
How about both?
All right. Well, there's a little bit more of the western jungles, of course. So she just starts to like very quickly go through a little card system that's right beside her. So you'll want to head into the library to section E24. And then if we're talking about the eastern side, that's under the military archives. So you'll need to get special permission. I can give you a request slip. And she starts to go into this long, drawn out conversation about the paperwork you'll have to do to get access to that. It seems like that knowledge is either held by the military or just not available to the public. But the way you were going to be going was towards the east, towards the mountains.
Then I will ask her to take us to the eastern side and help us with a map of the eastern side.
So she's saying that basically all of that is under military intelligence control, and they're not going to be able to just give you access to it.
All right, well, can she call for somebody from the spell guard to come on down?
I can certainly make the request, but of course they're going to take kind of several days to talk to us down here at the library. Unless it's a important issue, I'm afraid I can't help you in that regard. You'll have to go to them directly if you need a prompt response.
All right, Finnan's gonna tell Keys, I'm gonna go talk to Ryoko again, and just let the crew know, and we'll set off as soon as I get back to the ship with this map.
Got it. I nod and I'll
Can you
be
ensure
here
everyone is
for a
packed
little
up?
longer. I have things I want to look for.
What do you want to look for? It's a library.
I turn to the librarian.
Mm-hmm.
Would you happen to have a pen and paper I could draw on?
Oh, certainly, of course. Right this way, sir. And she starts to like walk away from Finnan. She does give you the request form for. She gives you both the slip of where to find the Western jungle maps, and then the little request form about I need access to the military archives. So she leaves that in Finnan's hands, and then she begins to walk Keys over to an empty desk. And you do see that instead of a quill and inkwell that you're normally used to, there's a little tray where they have it almost looks like paint and a brush, and you see that all the people who are in here are making notes very delicately with these brushes on the parchment they are provided.
Okay. So I would like to draw out the three-headed figure that I've been seeing lately.
You've only been seeing a three-headed figure?
Or five-head? Is it 3 or 5?
Well, I'll say that most of the dreams you have had have been this this storm, this firestorm, with you hearing the dragon roars. You had a picture of one in Tintin's drawings of the man with 5 heads. You also have that emblem that you took from the giant civilization, that medallion, which is like not quite like a head with 5 heads. It's more of like a god ray where there's like 5 points of light coming out from a central source.
Got it. I pull out that coin and I ask her if she has seen this in her library before.
She kind of focuses her lenses down. Oh my, that's very beautiful work, and ooh, it's quite heavy. This is some dwarven make, I suppose. No, I can't say I am very familiar with this, but I have not checked the archives in a while, so where was this acquired, if I might ask?
I found it in ruins amongst my journeys.
Ooh, very mysterious. I like where this is headed. This is going to be a good one. Yes, well, if we'll just make a charcoal rubbing here real quick, and she just takes a piece of like charcoal and like passes over it, and he just rubs it out real fast, and you can see that there's just a relief of what it looks like on a piece of parchment that she has. So I will take this down to some of our researchers and give them a quick look, but I'll be back in a few minutes to let you know if they are immediately familiar with it or will need to put a formal request in to see if they can find out more information.
Additionally, while you're asking them if they have seen this particular lettering, I would be interested. And then I'd like to scroll out some of the Storm Giant lettering as best as I can recall.
Ooh, Very interesting. All right, I'll take this back to our research department. Please help yourself to the complimentary tea bar at any time.
I nod and I head over to the tea bar.
Oh yeah, there's a crowd of people there enjoying some chai and some other teas. They all get kind of excited when they see you, and they start talking to you very excitedly in Elvish.
Oh,
I take it Finn's on the way up to the cast or back up to the keep at this point.
Yep, it's gonna take you another hour to get over there. You're getting faster and faster at getting around, but it's a giant fucking city, so there's, it's now well into the afternoon by the time you get back to the Spellguard and Ryoko. But
Love it.
you can make your entrances, and he's now out in the courtyard, training a couple of guards in basic forms. But he sees you being escorted up by the guards and just kind of waves you over.
I'm gonna just show him the piece of paper.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I take it that whatever I showed you yesterday has spurred your interest. You going after our target for us?
Finn's just gonna nod.
Okay.
You guys have done me well here. I figure I can help you guys out a little bit more.
I mean, we're gonna pay you for the privilege. Don't act like too benevolent.
I mean, don't make me pull my sleeve up and show you what else I've caught here. You know.
I don't. That's disgusting, and I don't really need to know what you pirates have been doing down at the docks.
Hey, whoa, hey, whoa, hey.
Boko,
Careful who you call.
Boko, get over here! And he waves over another soldier who comes running over. Yes, sir. Tell the captain here where we last left off is our journey into the eastern jungle. And he's like, yeah. So we have our base of operations on the eastern side of the river. The particular site that we were looking at, some kind of ruins that our teams have been sent out to. It was about 3 days' journey, best clip. But if you want to take your time and be careful, about a week through the nasty jungle. And once you hit the slope of the mountains is about where you're going to start to see elements of these weird ruins and stuff. It was probably a much bigger city before, but got destroyed in a landslide or something. We don't know. We've been trying to get reports back, but every team that we send deeper into the jungle, we don't really hear back from. But the captain of the guard over on the other side of the river, he'll have more information. That's where they all been setting out from.
Do you guys have an escort that we can take with us?
They just kind of both look at each other like, I mean, if you want to wait a day or two, we might be able to get somebody assigned, but that's kind of why we shop this out to you guys. Take care
Fair
of it
enough.
for us.
Okie dokie. Do you have a map, or is this the map?
He just kind of like,
You gonna make me go back down to the library and get another map?
they're not going to have very good maps. I mean, we'll draw you out a rough one, and you can navigate off of that, but
That
it's
is
uncharted
workable.
territory for a reason.
That is workable.
So you eventually get given kind of like here's the main river, here's the base camp on the side of the river, and they just kind of draw a squiggly line and then include the mountain ridge and be like, you're going to go in this direction, roughly towards the mountains for 3 days at a good pace, or a week at a good pace, and eventually you will get there. They're kind of heavily intimating like, you need to have somebody familiar with the jungle if you're going to get there safely, but also it's a giant mountain range. At one point or another, you will reach it if you just keep walking east.
Okay. Well, we got a ranger cleric, so we should be okay.
So Ryoko kind of just gives you a nod and says, is there anything else you need?
Make sure my boat doesn't get impounded while I'm on this mission for you guys.
No promises. And he immediately turns around and starts yelling at his recruits to, step 2 and get better with their forms. And he demonstrates some magic, and then they all start doing the same thing by rote over and over and over again.
Finn's gonna sigh and walk it back.
Okay.
Probably take public transit, make it easier.
All right. I mean, that shaves off a good half hour of your time, but you just got to keep these trolley trains, these cable cars keep being pulled around. You're saving time from walking, but it's still just a long journey because of the distance itself.
Fair enough.
Yep. While all this is going on, what are you guys getting up to on the boat?
Rikathan would like to speak to Rikesh.
You find him down in the hold. He is in his quarters, or rather the shared quarters that the crew have, poring over that book of his once again. Ah, Master Rickethan, good to see you. How goes the day? The captain hasn't been back yet, so I assume we're waiting for something before they head out?
Correct. Greetings. I just wanted to confer with you about something.
Of course, of course.
Now, I understand the urgency of certain tasks, and I mean no disrespect, but when your compatriot asked us to venture down to the, what is it, the Scorched Coast?
The Ashen Coast.
Ashen Coast. When your compatriot asked us to go to the Ashen Coast, it seemed like a deadly proposition. And I mean no disrespect to you, but his intentions did not seem forthright. And I just wanted to ask you how you know this will not be a death sentence.
Make an insight check for me.
Okay. $22.
22. You can see that for as inscrutable as a dragonborn face is, he does kind of like seem to tense up a little bit, and his eyes don't meet yours for a brief moment. I do not wish to put the crew in any further danger than they have themselves been put into willingly, but it is true that my brothers do guard our homelands rather aggressively. And he's kind of like rubbing his hand a little bit and kind of scratching his neck nervously. But I assure you that the invitation to come down on diplomatic terms is genuine, and we do not wish the captain or the crew or the ship any undue harm. However, it is true that getting access to the homelands is unusual for humans, elves alike. A few times turtles have been welcomed, although they only stayed briefly and never in the main citadel, of course. But I just worry that the captain has involved you all in a matter that is beyond your kin, and I'm doing my best to make sure we navigate it with safety and accuracy.
I understand. And again, I've seen you act in defense of the crew and the ship, so I do not wish to question your loyalty. I just had an uneasy feeling about this emissary.
Well, I can tell you that my brothers are as invaluable as I am, and they will not lie to you if it is to your detriment. We merely take certain vows to protect our homeland and our knowledge. And now that kind of looks around briefly, around the way you can see that Cherry has like gotten herself kitted up, and she's had her coffee, and she's leaving the area. Now that there is an elf maiden who knows our language and knows our ways of magic, my brothers are very curious to meet her, to meet all of you, to be perfectly honest.
And we accept the honor of being welcomed to your homeland.
Oh, that's good to know, Master Rickerton. That's good to know. I want you to see it. It's unique among the archipelago. Yes.
It doesn't seem like many get the honor, so or
No,
live to tell the tale. So
that's one way of putting it, of course. We don't have many repeat visitors.
thank you for being understanding in our delay, but I just wanted to check in with you. Thank you again.
Of course, Master Rickerton. And he like waits for you to leave before he opens that book again.
All right. When I walk away, is his back to me, or can he still see me?
Make a perception check.
Okay. 22 again.
22 again. You can tell that he's trying to make sure that his back is only to walls. he does seem to hold the book very close to himself, just the way that he kind of does, trying so that if anybody comes through the entrance to those quarters, he is very much like facing them, and he'll know that they're there. But you're also aware that you've got some tricks up your sleeve, so if you absolutely wanted to sneak around in these close, tight quarters, you might be able to.
I could tell that he's like actually holding the book. It's not flat on the table.
Correct.
Okay.
No, he does. He never puts it down anywhere. It is always in his hands when he has opened it and is reading it.
All right. I'm content with the conversation.
Hmm?
Thank you.
Okay. Is anyone else doing thing while Keys and Finnan are out and about? Tim seems in good spirits, from the sugar of the gruel that you guys have been given, your porridge. He's kind of like now running up and down the decks, just kind of happy, and the crew are kind of laughing. And at some point, Sivan is like actually racing him back and forth on the decks. And the crew are just generally like doing day-to-day upkeep of things, checking the lines, checking the sails, making sure everything's okay. So he seems to be doing okay. All right. Keys. It does take a while, but if you would give me a D100 roll for the results of your inquiry.
Hey, let's go green. Green dice.
You got it. Higher the better.
100.
That's
No
a solid
way.
100.
No fucking way. You got a solid 100.
If you can, take a picture of that shit.
I don't know if you can see that.
No, we cannot see that. Well, anyways.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here.
So the lady comes back, and it does take her a good 20 to 25 minutes before she returns, but she comes back with a couple of pieces of paper in addition to what she left with. I apologize for the wait, sir, but that was an interesting one, as I surmised. So, this is definitely some prehistory, and they were very interested to get the engravings and make copies and see for themselves. We have actually ourselves not encountered any of this before, but if you continue in your journeys to the Hall of Lasur, we're fairly confident, especially if you have any primary artifacts such as that, and she taps her finger lightly on the medallion that you provided, they should be able to chart where exactly on the archipelago other sites may be. Now, I will tell you, and this is a little secret, so keep it to yourself. There are investigations all throughout the island of Ursia that there are similar sites here, but perhaps from a different type of civilization. Some of our researchers actually believe that there have been multiple sightings of pre-existing civilizations that existed perhaps not peacefully among each other before the Exodus fleet arrived. We've had vague communications with the Tritons, of course, and their civilization reaches back tens of thousands of years, so they would have good information about this, but they've been a little bit tight-lipped. Silly fish people. No offense.
Well, that is quite a bit more than I expected. Thank you.
I do apologize we have no samples to compare it to, but do rest assured you have helped advance the knowledge of our beloved library simply by being here.
Now, you mentioned that there were some potential ruins. Might there be maps of some places if I wish to investigate?
Well, initial journeys to the sites themselves haven't found much. I can tell you from my memory and the other researchers, there does seem to be a common motif among the architecture, much more rounded edges, as well as some sort of obsession with snake motifs for some reason. a pale golden type of stonework that they enjoyed using, although the time has worn down most of that sheen into more of a golden sand sort of appearance. And of course, the vegetation is covering up most of it. Yes, the few sites we're aware of are deep in the eastern jungles, and because of that not being along traditional trade routes, they are off limits to most civilian researchers, so the military controls most of those areas.
Mm. Um. hmm, Might you have any journals of those researchers who have visited such sites?
I could scare up something if you'd give me an hour or so, a collected reading or two.
That would be much preferential, and please don't worry about the language. I have no problem reading anything.
Of course, sir. Just a moment. And she goes running back off and talking to a person here, talking to a person there. So you're probably going to be there for another good hour. I will skip through all that bullshit and just tell you that what she tells you is, or rather, what the readings are going to tell you uh, is basically that, yeah, up and down the river, there are a couple of remnants, similar to the stone ring that you guys found Rickethin and Eyes at when they reappeared, which was probably some kind of a ritual burial site. So something to do with their dead. They had made the kind of an altar, or not really a temple, just a shrine, basically. But other larger settlements are most likely deeper back towards the mountain ranges. There were one or two that were found, but most of them seem to have been abandoned a long time ago. And they're not really sure why. This would, of course, coincide with the Great Cataclysm and all of the events which preceded the Exodus fleet coming to the archipelago. So there's just more mysterious events that happened. You're not sure if it was tied into the war between the dragons and the giants, but it definitely seems to coincide timeline wise with something of that nature. There just isn't a lot of details. They're mostly coming upon just broken down buildings, well overgrown with vines, and they don't really have examples of language or what the people were like. That's all just kind of been picked up and taken away over time.
Okay.
Give me if you want to give me either a history check. Yeah, give me a history check if you would.
Okay, I'm sticking with green right now.
Go for it.
Okay. Not 14.
14. There is kind of an idea that you're mulling over in your mind as you read over all this, that it is odd that all of these civilizations, these societies are just so hidden away, and you would think that if any of them were significantly successful at, making permanent stone buildings, something of theirs would last beyond that. And it's kind of weird that there weren't stories of people that existed when you guys all came here. When the elves came to settle Ursia, there was not a people here to conflict with them. They settled in regions which you would have thought other people would have already been living in, or at least there would have been some native population. So the fact that there was nobody, it just doesn't add up in your brain. It just doesn't make sense, but you know that there's more evidence you'll probably need to find, especially if you go to one of these sites.
Excellent. So I thank the librarian, and I will take my leave at
Okay,
this point.
she bows to you. Several of the other patrons, having gotten to see a turtle actually hold up quick sketches they did of you as you were leaving, and they say some things to you in Elvish you don't understand.
You could
Okay.
really, yeah, you could really surprise them all by, going for a little fly as well, Derek.
Right? Oh
When
my,
turtles fly.
oh my god. You know, if if they follow me outside,
Mm-hmm.
then I will take off and go to the boat.
Sherry is asking to join in with Rickethan on spying somewhat. I will say if you would give me a stealth check to do so without being noticed. And okay, but I'm just saying around this time as you're getting, because he's in the below decks. You could try to, but you would need to make a stealth check if you're going to do so without being noticed.
Well, I mean,
Would you roll?
you still do.
Would you roll? I want to know. Would you roll? Okay. Okay. I will say that you do try to carefully make your way back around through, not like making yourself known, but it's an old wooden ship, and every step you take, as soft as you step, your weight is making the boards creak. So it's very obvious that somebody is on the lower deck at the same time. But in the same way, you do reach out your ears, your keen elvish senses, and you can hear that Ragesh is indeed kind of muttering to himself as he's just saying certain things. But even knowing Draconic and knowing that he speaks to himself in a language you understand, you're only catching like every fifth or so word. And it's mostly just mutterings about the captain, you, strangers, bad things happening. But it's vague. It's nothing specific or a name or anything that you're like hearing and being like, I didn't know about that before. It seems like he's reviewing things to himself over the past several months that he's just been with you guys. You don't know. He's definitely muttering things to himself, you think, because he's just sitting there with the book and nobody else is in that room with him. Okay. Several hours have passed as Eyes and Rickethan and the rest of the crew are on the boat. It's now probably getting on towards late afternoon, around about 2 or 3 o'clock, when Keys and Finnan arrive back at the boat. Unless anybody has any more shopping they want to do, just let me know.
We have enough supplies for the journey, right?
Yeah, you guys all have your kits and such, so if you want to take a trip overland, it's at best a week's journey going slowly. 3 days, at a good pace. So I would say you have enough rations and things for that.
Okay. On my way back, I'd like to pick up another keg of beer.
Okay, I would say mark off 2 silver.
Okay, another couple bottles of like hard liquor, like good whatever they have. Like
Okay, I would say for 5 bottles it'll be like 2 gold.
okay, and then couple vials of oil.
How many vials specifically?
Let's do 5.
5 silver.
Excellent.
So that's all able to be added to your inventory. Are you carrying this? Or are you going to burn another instance? It's been several hours. You could burn another instance of going into your vessel and back again, but you won't be able to do it every single time. You'll have to carry some of this at some point before you store it in your vessel, or you can just carry it on your person.
Okay. I guess the keg is going into my. Well, if it's going into my shell, I might as well. I pick up 3.
I'll specify again. You can store nothing in your shell anymore. That is gone. You have to go into or out of your vessel, which is your ring, every hour at the most. It takes an hour for that ability to recharge.
Okay. Well, if I'm bringing it into my vessel. Sorry, I kind of. I'm gonna pick up 3 kegs then.
Okay. Just
And
times 3 the amount, and you're good.
yep. And then I'll carry the other stuff because that should be easily manageable.
Easily manageable. You're just kind of like clinking around the glasses in your pouch in your backpack as you carry things. But turtles are known for overloading themselves. They're so strong that they can just weigh themselves down with crap.
If there's still time
Okay.
before Keys and Finnan get back to the boat,
Sure.
after I'm done talking to Ragesh, I would like to take my Seeker Dart and go to Tim Tim.
Okay. You find him up on the boat. He's, tired out, Siobhan, so she's now just back to doing rope work, and he's there. Now he seems to just kind of be like throwing that little ball of his that looks like glass back and forth, and he's actually starting to do like tricks. Like he's waving his hands, and it's like floating in and around his arms and back behind his head. And he's just kind of having fun with it now.
That's quite impressive, Tim Tim.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out, but it's getting easier.
I've been trying to practice something similar. I reach into my pack and pull out the Seeker Dart and show it to him.
Ooh, is that one of those assassin murder bullets?
Something like that, yeah.
Cool.
Here, I would like you to hold it. I'm wondering if you can do something similar to this, like you can with the orb that you have.
He's like, and he's holding it, and he's like looking it over, and he's like looking at the runes that you got drawn on it, and he's like, "Are these written in blood?"
I don't think so.
Oh
but they
man.
are magical.
He does like kind of. He's like, could I throw it?
I was hoping you could throw it, but can you use your mind to throw it? And I just point to another area of the ship, a few yards away.
Okay.
Can you make it go over there?
He kind of takes it like an actual like play dart, kind of like holds it up like this, and he just goes, yeah, and like it starts to just go because he's thrown it, but because you've indicated how far on the ship you want it to go, you see that it kind of like arrests in the air and just sort of like and starts to like move, but it's like slowly, like very slowly and shakily going. And then eventually it just kind of like knocks into the side of the boat and then boom, 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 boom. Wow. That was good, huh?
That was quite impressive. Now, if you're not too tired, do you think you could call it back to you?
Oh, maybe. And he just kind of like reaches out his hand and it slowly, shakily kind of lifts up in the air and then it comes back towards him and then faster and then faster and then faster. And real quickly, your hand has to dart out and grab it because he just about hit himself in the face with the dangerous end of it.
As I grab it, I say, wow. I'm honestly impressed, Tim Tim. I have been trying to do that for quite some time, and I think you're better at that than me.
Oh, gee. Well, I bet if I practiced really well, I could throw it right through a guy's head, like through his eye or something.
Well, you're lucky you didn't throw it through your own.
Oh, I guess
Back
you're
in my
right.
pocket. It's all right. That's why we practice.
Do you want to try to throw and return my ball?
I could, but I'm afraid I might only be able to throw it with my hand and not with my mind.
Oh, wow. Well, if you practice enough, I bet you could do it too.
Thank you. Well, I'm sure if you have any other questions, Keys can give you better instruction than I can. You've impressed me. Thank you.
Okay, cool. And he just kind of like looks down at the ball and walks away, but you can hear in your mind, he thinks I'm so cool.
Nice. Then I'll return to my quarters and just kind of practice or get a little frustrated.
I mean, you can expertly throw it at this point where it's just like junk and goes right where you want it to. Getting it back is still like 3 out of 5 times it comes back to your hand, and other times it just kind of gets pulled out of the wood and falls to the ground. All right. Otherwise, if there's nothing else to do, the crew reconvenes. It's not quite dinner time. It would be like early evening, around about 4 or 5 possibly, but you guys have basically completed what you all wanted to do for the day. Once the captain comes back, you guys can have a conversation about what you would like to do next.
What'd you find down on your travels? You get a map?
No, but as long as we follow the river towards the mountains, we should be able to meet up with their camp.
Okay.
Plus, we have Sherry. Sherry knows the ways of this elf land.
Mm.
You're a ranger, right? That's what you said you were when you joined the company, right? Are you doubting? You see, I don't need you to doubt your abilities right now, Sherry. You just have to believe in yourself, and we can find our way through the forest, one way or another. I mean, if we get lost, we are following your direction here.
Yeah, no pressure. It'll
Yeah,
be
no
fine.
pressure. Yeah, we'll be all right. Worst
Okay.
case scenario, we retrace our steps. All right, yeah, perfect. Then there are no issues. All right, let's head on out. Let's go.
Uh, is Tim around us?
He is on the ship.
Yeah, but is he like in our little circle?
No, he's off to the side.
What are we gonna do about the kid? Something kind of weird going on there.
Yeah, I think it might be the dragon mark talking, but I think we need to take him with us wherever we go.
Yeah, I remember last time we took him down some dark tunnels. That wasn't too good.
The kid has shown remarkable talents since then.
Does anyone
Yeah,
want to be responsible for him? If not, I think we can leave him.
I look at Keys.
I roll my eyes.
I mean, you don't have to take care of it. Like, we could leave him here.
I'll take care of him.
Okay. All right, Tim, we're leaving. I hope you're packed up. We're going right now.
Oh, hang on! And he goes like running as fast as he can back down the stairs. Hang on! And he just pop, 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 pop. You can hear like the clattering of stuff. You hear like a whole bunch of like pots and pans get knocked over. Oh, sorry, Pierre. Okay. And he's like still getting the pack on. I'm ready. And there's like clothes that are dangling out of the flap and stuff like that.
I remember my first rodeo.
I do say to Keys that the responsibility will not be yours alone, for this is a collective, but you do seem to be the child's mentor.
I nod.
Finn's gonna start departing the ship and start wondering why no one inquired about it being the dragon mark talking. In any case, Finn's just gonna keep walking on and going on his ship. They're on the trip into the forest.
Eyes talks to a sword. We've got a flying turtle. I don't know. Just kind of seems par for the course.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a weird thing about them. We don't know why.
Yeah, well,
He was talking. Yeah, he was talking characters. So he said that out loud. You all heard that shit.
like Eyes never told us about the talking sword.
No, but on watch, I have witnessed him sort of muttering a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, he does. He does seem to talk to himself with his sword when he's on watch.
I gotta say, having a party full of elves is super nice because I've never had to take watch, and I can always get unimpeded or uninterrupted.
Because of his bullshit invocations, technically you don't ever have to take watch. As long as Keys is alive, he will be your watch the whole time. Such
It's
bullshit.
very true.
Now the downside is he has a very poor passive perception, so you take that at your leisure.
Very, very poor. No.
As long as he's not doing anything, he can just sit there and not really care about it. He could read for the night or whatever, so he's been reading, but as long as he's not doing something, he can take a watch and never have to sleep. He just doesn't have to sleep.
Yeah. And I can't be put to sleep either.
Correct. But again, a part of his spirit, his soul, if you will, is given to some other being for that ability. So, warlock shit, man. If you sell your soul, you get cool shit.
Dude,
Join today.
I might have
We
that
can't
same
hear you, Rickethan.
opportunity.
Can't hear
Let's
you.
go.
I said, meanwhile, if a rat farts next to me, I wake up. Like,
Correct. Yeah. If people talk too close to him at night, he will roll over and tell them to shut the fuck up because he can't sleep. All right.
Sorry to tangential this conversation. Would it like break my meditation?
If a rat farted? Yes.
No, I mean like the actual like if people were whispering or talking too close to me, would it like break my
If you were within
concentration?
10 feet of people trying to have a conversation, yes, you wouldn't be able to sleep. That's how high your perception is now. So your
but I
passive
don't
perception. Correct, but it's basically distracting you from trying to take a rest. Mechanically, it's interfering with your ability to rest. So,
Thank
you. In the ship, no, but like the ship's big enough that people can go and be away from him. But he's got pretty fucking high perceptions. He's an assassin who's well trained.
Do we happen to pass by any potion shop on our trip?
If you want to go through by a potion shop, you could probably hit through the market center as you leave the island to go to the other side. You guys, since you're leaving your ship behind, will just take like a barge or something, and those go by pretty regularly throughout the evening. Again, the city doesn't really ever stop, so whether you leave now or the middle of the night, you're going to be able to get to the other side of the river. No problem. Just take a water taxi or something.
Yeah, I'd like to just run in and grab 5 potions of healing.
Regular?
Yeah, just the regular ones.
Okay. Those are going to run you. I'm actually curious.
I think they're 50 gold each.
They are normally 50 gold each. For you, they're going to be 45.
Nice. Okay.
So just mark off that gold and add the 5 health potions. By the time that this is all done, it's around about probably 6:30 or so. So it is basically getting into the dinner time hours. It is up to you guys if you want to try to eat before leaving the city, eat at the other side of the river, or just start to camp as you guys go through. It is going to be the end of the adventuring day, so at some point you have to decide if you're going to try to go through if you're going to try to stop when you get to the river and camp there, or if you want to continue into the jungle, risking a point of exhaustion.
Yeah, we can camp at the other side of the river.
Okay.
Are there any food carts or like stands that we could eat at?
If you wanted to do so before you, on your way out, absolutely. You basically go to the other side of the island where there's other docks and things like that. So yeah, there's fried rice, there's kebabs, there's even soups and stew carts. There's all kinds of things you could enjoy, especially since you're not going to try to rush to get out of here.
Finnan's probably going to look to grab some kebabs and maybe some for the next day.
Okay. You don't know how good they're going to keep, but sure.
Yeah. Or maybe a pastry or 2 for the morning.
Okay. We'll say that's just going to run you like 5 silver total for all that food.
Oh, my goodness. That sounds amazing. I am feasting over here.
Okay. 5 health potions, some foods. Depending on how much everybody wants to eat, mostly you're going to be paying in the realm of like 5 copper to a silver, depending on the quality of food you want.
Wow, I got some good stuff in. Oh.
Okay. You guys take your dinner, and then on a late evening boat, you cross the river to the other side, the other bank. There is kind of a flourishing settlement here as people come and go along this trade route. But you also note that towards the back end of it, where there are actual gates, because most of the forest is dense enough, it kind of makes a natural barrier. There's just been some like driven post into the ground with sharp uh, bits of bamboo, and they make a rough kind of barricade, and then the gates outside of it, basically just to defend. The river itself acts as a natural barrier to the island, but they need to just say, here is a choke point where travel comes and goes. So if you want to enter the jungle proper, you have to go through this garrison. The garrison is led by a person named Captain Eco. Captain Eco is just in charge. So he is actually on watch that evening as you guys arrive. It's getting into the late night hours, and the sun is beginning to set around about 8:30 or so. So if you guys are trying to leave the settlement and head into the jungle first, you're going to have to go through him because the gates are actually closed once the sun goes down.
Rian, do you guys want to leave now, or do you guys want to wait until the morning?
Which direction are we going?
East.
So you're
Good.
going
Okay.
solidly east.
Okay. Well, I mean,
We could leave at sunrise.
it seems like that'd be smart.
Yeah. Depending on how much time there is in the day, I don't think we should just go on the other side of this protective wall and make camp, you know?
Okay. I'm just out of character. This is kind of like in Game of Thrones when they like go out, they camp on the other side of the wall for
Yeah.
like, like 50 feet away from it, Total shit show. Yeah. I'm good to wait until the morning.
Just
And
because you had to bring that up, and I have to fucking mention this. I don't understand how they made such a big deal about how hard it is to get to and both other sides of the wall, but then that one deserter kid just somehow appeared in the pilot episode on the other side of the fucking wall in the Northlands. Never explained. Don't understand, and bullshit. But whatever. Anyways, Game of Thrones was improperly written. All right, we can move on.
Anyways, as we were. To be fair. No. Okay.
I wouldn't mind like a nice meal and maybe some kind of mattress.
I don't know if we're
You'll-
gonna get that here, but
Yeah,
I
you'll
can give you
probably
a
get
kebab.
you'll get street vendor food. You'll get maybe like cots. You might be able to pay for a hot swap cots. Most of the people that seem to be staying here, if they're not military, are like craft workers or people who are tradesmen who are just coming and going. So they're mostly just dealing with like flop house levels of, uh, hospitality.
Good enough for me.
So if you guys all want like an actual place to stay and not have to use your bedrolls for the night, you can pay probably 2 silver just for the niceness of having an actual off of the ground bed.
Just take my money, why don't you?
You
No,
can
got
never
fucking-
fit things back into your suitcase quite the way you packed it, so I'm gonna leave everything in my pack and get a nice bed for the night.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Okay.
Is anyone in like the inn tavern whatever in this camp being jovial?
I mean, yeah, they're it's not as hustle and bustle as the city, but yeah, you've got plenty of military garrison guys coming off shift right before the sun goes down who are drinking it up, carousing, trading stories.
Finn will join in on this, in this camaraderie that's being portrayed in this camp.
And then she said, "I've never seen that one before." And they all start laughing at each other. You're full of shit, Cicero.
Oh man,
Can we help you, friend?
just looking for a night of good company.
Well, fucking look over there. I don't see any military uniform on you, nor these ears, so keep walking.
Finn's just gonna go over there and start drinking and have an imaginary conversation and start laughing out loud.
Do I hear this?
You do. I mean, he made kind of a big deal about walking over to a group of military guys in a circle.
This is true.
Finn, should I?
I mean, you want to drink? Finn's just over here drinking. You never know
No,
what's gonna
never
happen
mind.
when you go into the spooky forest, and potentially may
true.
never return.
Okay. Yep. I take a drink.
Okay. You taking a drink with Finnan at the little bar he's found, little stand, little shack.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. You guys are awful ways from this, little group. They got a makeshift fire or whatever, but it's just guys who've bought drinks elsewhere or have their own, wine bags, and they're just drinking together. So you can hear them from a ways off, from like a good 100 feet away, but it's very clear that they want to be left alone unless other soldiers come by to talk to them.
Hmm.
Looking for a little bit of trouble, I'll walk past. Just give them eyes.
They all eye you back as well. Some of their murmuring kind of dies down a little bit. One or two hands like rest on a weapon, but they just kind of like look up at you and then kind of distinctly turn their backs on you. But one or two of them who are like faced as you walk away just keep their eyes locked on you.
Are they all of the same military colors, or does it look like it's just another collection of...
No, it looks like they all work for the Council of Aerosol, so they're in official military gear. You can see the emblem of the council is on all their uniforms, so they are not just working for the House of the Lady, they explicitly work for the council in manning this post.
Nice. I'll join the captain and Keys.
Okay.
Drink.
Yep. So it's just this little stand basically, and the guy's got a big giant vat of God knows what that he is serving you all. It's some kind of frothy brown liquid, and if you drink enough of it, you'll get drunk, but taste isn't that great.
It never is that great.
I mean, you had some pretty good drinks when you were a guest of the lady, but this is a far cry from that. This is like grog. This is like what you remember drinking when you were back in the Pirate League.
Well,
I'll also join, but I'm gonna be in quiet contemplation, kind of just staring into the cup.
what's got you down over there, eyes?
I'm just reflecting on the journey and how I'm sort of taking a different approach, but I'm struggling to sort of find my way as a as a blade singer, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to exhibit those qualities, but know that I have a long way to go.
Oh, what are you struggling with?
Just picking the right ability and going for it full steam ahead, and not relying on some of my kind of fallback maneuvers of just trying to blast my way through things with my blade.
Well, you see, not every blade pierces every skin.
There's one guy who's come up with his mug and just like, that's a crock of shit. You're a shit poet, asshole.
Talking to me or him?
He's talking to you, and he's just like, I bet you'll be a great blade singer. I bet you'd be the best that ever was. What even is a blade singer? I don't know, but you'll be great at it.
Thanks, friend. I'm gonna tap his mug with mine.
Yeah.
I'd like to make him sober as he finishes his drink.
So that is, I believe, a touch spell, right? You have to touch the man.
Yes.
Okay. You reach out and you touch the man, and he instantly sobers up. Like, oh God, where am I? What's going on? How long have I been drinking? Who are you people? Oh, I gotta get home. Jesus Christ, I don't even know where I am. And he quickly just starts walking away at a pace.
The fuck
I
did
don't
you
know.
do to him, Keys?
I don't know if that was a blessing or a curse.
He's a good 50 to 100 yards away. You just hear shout out, oh, fuck, I'm on the wrong side of the river.
Oh shit.
Well,
My
after
wife's
that,
going to kill me. And he just keeps walking and shouting to himself like, oh, that man is in a lot of trouble.
Oh shit.
Yo,
Well, he would have been a lot more had he not gone home.
Finn is gonna intentionally stay at least 2 more feet away from Keys than he has been the entire night. Not trying to
Good.
sober up.
Can make you sober with a touch.
Yep,
I
nope.
regard eyes, and I sort of raise my mug and say, discipline is art. All you need to do is find it within yourself and express it.
Thank you. I will do my best.
Oh,
Well, unless anyone else wants to do anything else, the night passes pretty quietly. Guards come and go as they go on off their shifts. Most of them have a barracks that they return to sleep in. Yep.
I would like to do something. Shortly after
Sure.
that, I'll regard the bartender and
Mhm.
say I'd like a round for everyone at that table, and I'll go sit down next to them. Sort of
The
like
guards?
yes. So like if
Okay.
their bench is like this, I would sit at the one end.
It's more of like a circle of around a fire they have. So if you want to like take a chair and then just plop it down amongst them and try to sit down, you could do that. The owner is kind of like, all right, and he just quickly like takes the mugs and he starts like taking people's mugs and giving them a fresh one. And he's like, "Gentleman here is paid for your drinks, soldiers."
I
I
They
would
all
could keep
kinda-
an eye on him.
Yeah, they all kind of just stare at you wordlessly. They are drinking the drinks. One or two of them like hesitate, and like the most senior guy is like, "Fuck it," and just starts drinking.
I sit in
So-
silence until one of them speaks.
The most senior guy, because they're all just kind of looking at him since he decided to drink first. They all tentatively like take sips. He's like, "Brings you this far south, Urakan."
A mission.
That's what they're like, boys. Mission focused. And what is this precious mission of yours? Oh no, wait, let me guess. He's gonna kill somebody. And they all start laughing again in their drunken uproarious laughter.
I nod.
Oh.
But I say,
Finn's gonna walk over at hearing them say that and completely deadpan. He stand on top of Rickerton. He like put his hand on his shoulder. We're going after the thieves who stole from Lady Elnart.
Oh,
What brings you guys here?
you're going into the jungle, you mean, on another fool's errand. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Good luck
Yeah.
out there, Urakan. He has not even acknowledged Finnan. He is looking dead at you, Rickethan, and he is talking to you.
death makes fools of us all.
Wow. Well, if that's the kind of propaganda they use to recruit you young, I guess it works. Thanks for the drinks. That's all for me, boys. Remember, you were all on duty at 6 a.m. And they all groan. Bitch, bitch, bitch. Takes the drink, throws it in the general direction of the shack which has been serving you all, and then just heads to the barracks.
Finn's gonna spit on the ground after that guy walks off.
Under my breath, but loud enough so I think he can hear,
Mhm.
I just say, how disrespectful for a leader.
If he does hear that, he doesn't seem to acknowledge it. He just continues to walk. A couple of the other younger soldiers do kind of look over at you after a few minutes pass. So, like, you guys are really going to go after that person that they said went running off into the jungle?
You guys are sitting here. They have to send somebody.
I mean, we have to defend against any incursions from the jungle. You know it's fucking dangerous out there, right? Like there's all kinds of crazy shit. There's monsters, there's animals. One of our guys, he actually got his face bitten off by a jaguar.
Does he not know how to face a jaguar?
It takes a moment, and then everyone like kind of.
Are you guys not trained in killing jaguars?
Hey, we're fucking soldiers. We're not supposed to kill wild animals. That's crazy.
One could say that a enemy is a wild animal, if driven to madness.
Yeah.
Most of them are so drunk they take a few minutes to try to contemplate that, and then just give up and keep drinking.
I ask them what they've seen and what else they've heard. Or what they've heard and what else they've seen on these missions.
It's kind of, it goes around in like a circle. It's like, one time I saw a baboon, and it turned around and it showed me its butt, and its butt was really red. Yeah. And then another guy goes, Another time I saw one of them flying snakes. You know, the kind that they like bats wings and then they just kind of it's weird. And then another time, what did you see the last time? Oh well, I didn't get to go on this, but my friend did, and yeah, he says there's some kind of weird shit deep in the jungle, like I don't know. He says there's like stone buildings or whatever that are really old, and
At,
he,
at
he,
this,
he-
I at this I perk up and decide to walk over. Are they talking Elvish or what are they talking?
they've mostly been talking in Elvish.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So Finnan and Rickethan 100% can follow this conversation. You have not been following this conversation. So yeah, he mentions the old buildings. If you prodded him further, would mention the snake motifs. But he's like, there's fucking snakes in the jungle. Like that's not weird that there's a building where they put snakes on the building in the place where there are snakes.
Hey, there's like a shrine to the snakes in a building.
Uh he didn't describe it like that. He just kind of said that there were snakes on the stonework. Like that's just kind of a thing. Like, sometimes we put birds on things and sometimes we put water buffalo. They put snakes.
Noted. And what's the quickest way into the? I guess are there any specific trails that you guys would recommend using as we
They
make
all
our way
point back
forward?
to the eastern gate. Just like, I mean, that road's going to take you about half a day's in, and then there's like kind of a shrine that ends the marked path, and after that, you kind of have to cut through the jungle itself. And hope you got some kind of a tracker because it gets nasty out there.
Yeah, we got one of those. But noted. Thank you.
Slowly, one by one, as the night wears on, they all just kind of like go off, reminded that they have a 6 a.m. Call time. They have to get up and report for duty at that point. So can't spend all night drinking.
Nope, you can't.
And eventually, you guys are by yourselves with this fire going out. And again, it's getting on towards 10 or so. So it's slowly turning into full nighttime. If you look out on the river, the city has lights lit up and it's still very active. The river is active. But this little garrison town is mostly lulling into sleep.
Yeah, it's time to go to sleep. Finn's gonna go knock off in his bed.
Okay.
Yep, I'm done as well.
You all retire to the little flop house. It's fairly cramped in there, but you guys get a dedicated cot if you want it, and you just kind of every so often will hear somebody.
I stay behind briefly, just sort of staring at the fire and meditating.
Yep.
Offering up a prayer, like to the Raven Queen, and sort of the words that I focus on are Ashen Spy Dragon.
Okay. Yeah. And you're thinking on this, you're contemplating, you're just kind of worried about certain things, and you were taught to investigate your targets, to know your enemy as best as you could, to think like them. But the Dragonborn are so secretive, it's difficult for you to really wrap your mind around the layered way in which they work and they operate. They're not elves, and you best know how to fight elves and orcs and humans, but it's difficult to pierce into that. So if something was going on, you certainly would need a god's help to pierce the veil as it was. And taking about all that, you eventually decide to either stay there and continue your meditative trance or go to a more quiet, secluded place to do so.
I paid for a room. I'm gonna go back to it after that.
Okay. So you do eventually go back to your room there. Yeah, sleep finds you all. No significant dreams or anything too strongly about that. But eventually, while some of you are not as comfortable as you would be back on the boat or camping out. You all get your long rest. Wake up the next day. The town gets going pretty fucking early, at like 5 in the morning at least, if not 4 or 4:30. So you are awakened pretty early on. And if you try to sleep in, you'll get maybe another hour or so. But you are definitely up and moving at like 6:30 or 7.
Then I'll probably try and get breakfast with whoever's up, and then get ready to go.
Okay. First up, as always, is Keys because doesn't sleep.
What do I notice anything specific as people are starting to get up and about?
Mostly just the kind of the way the guards come off duty and go on duty, and the way that they all, they all kind of regard you as another one of those well-traveled turtles. They kind of give you a nod, and some of them even saw you last night talking to the other group. So, but they know how to march in formation, they know how to move in patrols, so it's a fairly well-run garrison, not too much problems or troubles. And you just kind of note who's coming and going from one side of the island to the other as they all disembark. After they open the gates, there's a handful of people that do seem to be going into the jungle, but it's sparse. There isn't really a trade route yet that cuts all the way through the jungle. But that is also apparently something that's happening. Like you see 1 or 2 people that go and they have all of these like devices and things on their back. They are probably trying to chart a way through the jungle, because you do recall that there is supposed to be a settlement on the other side of the mountains that right now they have to chart ships to go all the way around Urcia before they can reach them. So a path through the mountains would be great, but it's taking some time to get there.
Do I notice where those particular people came from?
I mean, they came off of the island of Aerosol and they just disembarked, prepared themselves, got their gear together, and they're just marching down the existing road that's currently cut through the jungle. But apparently that doesn't go very far.
Okay, I'd like to try to intercept one of them.
Okay. You see that there is a young elven gentleman. He's got his hair tied back. He's got his gear on his back, and it's kind of all stacked up a little bit higher than his head. And he's just kind of like, and he's just like at the line to go through and speak to the people checking passes and things like that. He's got his papers out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good morning.
Morning. I noticed that you're well prepared for the jungle.
Well, I don't know about that, but I definitely have all my tools and papers and orienting gear, so I should get some good charts done this time. We're trying to get projections for the next quarter so we can estimate how much farther we can make the path.
Have you noticed any ruins on your charts and excursions into the mountain?
Some of my other coworkers have noted that there are a few remnants, idols of that kind, but we mostly try to keep the official paths clear of that sort of thing for historical preservation reasons.
Mm. Is there a way that I could get a hold of that? I was talking to a woman in the library, and she'd be very interested in finding out more.
Yeah, I mean, here's the most up-to-date information I have, and he just takes out a little like leather moleskin notebook and kind of opens it for you, and you see that there's like several successive pages of what's probably just beyond the barricade, and like a rough estimation of here's a major, fresh pool of water, here's a major stone formation, here's how far the path is from that. And then in the way far corners of these, you see like one little note here of an interesting thing, one little note here of a stone circle. Mostly it's just like little remnants, not even full villages, just what remains of something that once existed here the better part of 1,000 years ago.
This might I barter for that information?
I mean, I'm about to leave in about 10 minutes, but if you want to make a quick note for yourself, it's not like privileged information. I mean, you're not going to go chart your own path, are you?
Of course not. That would be foolish.
Isn't that literally what we're about to do?
I mean, you're going to go through the jungle, but you guys aren't going to necessarily like build them a road or anything. He just wants to make sure you're not working for a competing company.
I mean, we're working for the collective.
Yeah.
You're not surveyors like he is, so he's not that worried. Like Keys doesn't have on his back, like all the tools that he has to take maps and build tables or whatnot. So it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
I hearing this, and Finn's gonna walk up to Keys. Hey, Keys, where are your tools? Don't you need those? Don't you have something like that?
I take out a little piece of parchment and a quill
You know
and
what?
start
Think
jotting stuff
smarter,
down.
think smarter. Work lighter.
Mhm.
I approve of this. You've gotten a lot smarter since we last talked, Keys. And Finn's gonna pat him on the shoulders and go drink some water.
Captain Finnan seems a little bit hungover this morning. He might have had too much to drink, but you're getting good information to share with Sherry when she decides to start you guys out. The gentleman, after a few minutes, nods and says, "Oh, good luck on your surveying or whatever the hell you guys are doing out there. Remember, go off the path, get killed." It's just a little industry humor for you. Anyways, take care. And he just turns around, talks to the guards at the gate, and after showing them some paperwork, they let him on through. And the gates are, like a good 2 stories high, so it's this big, Jurassic Park opening. And he just kind of starts like leaning into his pack and just starts walking. The path is, big enough for 2 carts side by side. It is easily like just roughshod road with no pavement or anything, and it continues on, wading its way up and over the different ridges of the embankment of the river, and eventually it just cuts deep into the jungle. And once it hits that first bend, you don't see him anymore.
Okay. I'd like to talk to the guard.
Sure.
Does he know common?
He says something to you very quickly in Elvish, and then also says a phrase in Common. Name and business for trafficking beyond the gate, please.
Not yet. I'd seek a guide.
Name not yet. Okay.
Company, a guide.
No, not yet. It's not yet.
Not yet. That's it. I got a brother whose name is Nana, so that's interesting.
Oh, good. I'm dead.
Finn's
But,
gonna try and get
Is yeah,
They're going up to the gate already.
is there an area where I might acquiesce a guide?
A guide for beyond the gate? Not really, friend. I mean, we're not even allowing most public traffic. If you got special papers to leave, that's fine. But anything else got to go through Captain Eco.
You know what? Can you take us to Captain Or can you? Where would I go find Captain Eco?
And he just kind of like points down a ways away from the gate where there seems to be an actual guard office.
Okay.
2 guards on either side of it.
Finn's gonna go find Eyes and Sherry.
You and Tim Tim he's so happy he's got all these like sticky buns, all these like meat buns, and he's like, "Oh boy, they're gonna be so happy. I love meat buns." And he's just eating them up.
Fuck.
God, we're not gonna have any meat buns by the time he's done with them.
Probably not.
Remember last time he ate all that food that we got for him and he got sick?
And he was immediately sick. Yep.
God.
He is 12 or 13. He has no impulse control, you guys. Oh, I want my Sherry. Still just. Oh man.
Didn't realize he was that young.
Oh, he's very young. You guys keep putting not as young as some other characters that have been dragged into situations, but he's still not even a teenager.
Well, he's with Auntie Sherry right now.
Okay, so they're getting breakfast, and Finnan is going to the guard booth.
I'm going. I'm going with
Eyes
Finnis. I'm
Eyes
going
come
with
with
Finnis.
I need. All right. So
Yeah, I'll go with.
Okay.
and Rick, and then you can come too, but you can't. You got to cover up your patch, man. Everyone gets freaked the fuck out when they see your armor. I assume he acknowledged it. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, we're going over the guard tower.
You're muted.
I always forget that I have I have to unplug my main keyboard to plug in my cam, so I always press my push to talk button on that one, and that's what's happening. So I'll put on one of my cloaks and then follow.
Sure.
Into the guard tower.
Okay. Yep. So little guard booth. The two guards just kind of like don't really acknowledge you. They're just there in case anybody starts some shit, but you're not forbidden from entering. It's a really sparse little place, not much more than a shack that they designated as the guard booth. But you do see an individual who's seated behind there. He has some rank bars, wearing the same kind of aerosol armor that everyone else is. Looks up as you come in. Can I help you?
Yeah, I just want you to know that my company is venturing into the forest, and I was told that we need to report or check in with you because we don't necessarily have any special papers. But is there anything we need to do before we're given clearance to go on in?
I mean, buying insurance would be a good idea, but I assume you've already taken care of that.
Yeah, insurance, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Fill this out, please. And he just kind of hands you over a piece of paper which just has like the name of your company, who the representative is, if there's any goods you happen to be taking through, and what your intention is. Which again, it's all just like blank form stuff, which you assume people have put in like fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, none of your business.
I'll do that. No, I won't do
Captain,
that.
fuck you. Very original. Okay. He just crumples it, throws it over his shoulder.
No, I'll fill out the information.
Okay.
I'll tell him what's going on.
Oh. Oh. Well,
Hmm.
actually, I should be thanking you then. Jesus. I've been getting angry letters every other fucking day. I don't send more men after whatever that lady took and ran into the jungle with, which, by the way, I know there's been more than one noble woman who's gone running off into the jungle, but they normally come back after a day or so. So the fact that they want us to find this one,
Yeah, no, we got it. We need to be a little discreet about our intentions here. But we are going on out, and we just want to make sure that we're
that's
not
fine. It's
impeded upon.
no. To be perfectly honest, we send a patrol out every couple of days. The last two really didn't come back. At some point, I'm supposed to send another squad to check up on them and see where they ended up. But
Do you happen to have a guide? If you send one guide with us, we can potentially find
they're
your
not
other
going to have
squad.
any better luck than you are. We don't have roads to where we're going. We have to charge all the way through. We have to cut down vines to get through the jungle. It's not a clear path.
Do you happen to, or can you reaffirm where I need to go after we reach the end of the road?
If you provide whatever maps or notes you have, he just says, that's about it. Basically, follow this route there.
Keys, you had that map that you were working on earlier, right?
Yes, Captain.
It's the blank piece of paper because he hasn't started on it. Where do we need to go in order to, or where should we go to find the ruins
I
after
mean,
we reach the end of the road
he
here?
basically says, here's the mountain range, here's the city, which is on the other side of the mountain range. I keep sending teams to go help the road builders meet their way to the mountain range, and then somewhere along there, they said they found ruins. But the last
Oh.
time that somebody went out there, they never came back.
And that was that girl. Okay. All right. Well, that's where we'll be heading. And
Do you have further charts of the ruins?
I mean, they would have been making them while they were there. So if you could recover anything, I'll pay you a little bit of gold for that. That'd be nice.
Hmm. Can you tell us, give us a good lead on where to start?
Start at the end of the path and head east. You're going to hit the wall eventually.
that's a pretty good fucking lead right there, wouldn't you say, Keys? Thank you so much, Captain. And Finn's gonna leave. I wasn't sure if we need more military presence. That's why I made sure to bring eyes. But
For the most part, it seems like he's
he seems
comfortable
like a
with you
good cat.
guys. He's basically gone through this many times where mercenaries want to go through, and he's like, I'm not told to stop you from leaving, so have at it. But everyone has warned you that the jungle is pretty goddamn dangerous, so
All right. Well, I guess that's that.
Did we get our paperwork?
I guess we're just waiting on Sherry at this point.
it's pretty much a rubber stamp, and you guys are off. Yeah. Eventually, we'll say that as the day wears on, you all collect yourselves outside of the gate and are preparing to leave. It is still relatively early morning, probably not even 8 o'clock yet. Oh yeah, and he just starts to like pull out these like half kind of like mushed down meat buns, and he's just like handing them out one at a time. These are all pork. I asked if they had any chicken, but they didn't, so I just got extra pork with pork.
A fine selection.
Thank you, Tim Tim. And do you have
Yes,
the coffee
sir.
like Pierre makes it?
Nobody said I needed to bring
Oh.
that, so no.
It's okay.
I'm gonna smash a bun. And
Finn's
then
also gonna
tighten up
smash.
my pack.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, eyes. I'm following you into the jungle here.
Alright. I'm gonna start leading, but then I'm gonna look over at Sherry. Sherry, can you guide us through this shit?
So, there is about a half day that you'll have where you can just follow the existing road, which is just a dirt path that's fairly wide. You can all walk down, and it leads you in a general direction up the bank of the river and away from this encampment. After that point, it basically terminates in a mile marker, a little stone obelisk that they've just set up and carved into it, being like, this is the end of the official route. And from there, it's just a solid wall of jungle, vines, thick tree growth, rocks here and there. Now, Sherry does know her way around this territory. She was trained as a ranger in this kind of jungle, but other than head east, she doesn't really know where she's going, so she'll just have to find the best route, the least problematic route. I will say, if you guys try to go fast, that normally imposes disadvantage on perception checks. If you just take a medium rate, you can average about 30 miles a day, and it's about 40 to 45 miles. So about a day, day and a half to get to the rough estimation of how far away the mountain range should be.
I am
If you
100% okay taking our regular time because 30 miles in a day is still like a fucking marathon.
The one
Yeah.
reason that's possible because you have Sherry. Otherwise, it would be difficult terrain, and you would have half that.
I'm okay going regular speed.
Okay.
Agreed. Is there, Sherry? Do you see any like paths or a way that like I don't know people that don't want to be found might go? Is there anything leading you to believe that? Not that they're hiding, but like a path that they would take. Because somebody came out here. That bitch that stole my ring came out here, and I'm certain that she's not the only one.
This is the first you're hearing about any woman and the ring or any of that. You don't know what he's talking about otherwise.
Well, it was that woman that took the dragon bolt or whatever it was called, the plans for it, or took the item. We had another run in. I tried to sweet talk her a little bit. I thought we had a connection, and maybe we did. I think we did, but she stole my damn ring, and I'm gonna get it back. She came out here. She said something about going east through the jungle.
Did did I say something about the girl before too, like the name, because you made me do like a perception roll about the Quickfoot family, right?
You know who they are when he mentions her by name to you, because she introduced herself by name to Eyes. You have never met Adelia before, so you don't know her in person. You just know of her reputation.
I at this, Finn's gonna look over at Eyes. You're trying to with the Quickfoot family? Eyes, no, you dog.
I'm not trying to do anything, man. It was just we had a little connection.
You, you don't wanna mess with that family.
Well, they got to
They're,
get my
they
ring
they
back.
got better fingers than fucking fingers.
Well, they stole my damn ring from my fingers, so I'm gonna get that back.
What ring?
That ring that we got from that old Tressador place.
It means something to you? I thought you just liked it as a keepsake.
I did. I like it as a keepsake.
Was it magical?
To me, it was.
Well then, maybe it'll come back to you. But I think it's gonna be okay.
So I should point out,
Alright.
anyone else who took the Tressador ring way back when you guys were freeing Maria Drandar from the pirates underneath that building, you will also have the exact same ring. Like I think Keys has one, or if not Rickethan, I think Sherry has one. So several of you have the same kind of ring. It's just like a family ring with their symbol on it.
No. It's the principle of it. So let me say, I have another agenda, but something tells me that we're gonna find it if we just keep going a little bit.
Do I see anything that is like kind of like the general direction of maybe? Is more
If you want to make a survival check or a nature check, you can try to find. You're now going into the point of not just finding your way through jungle, you're trying to track somebody, which makes it a more difficult task. And this would slow you guys down if you're explicitly trying to track someone and retrace their steps. It makes it more difficult. It would slow you down.
I would like to give Cherie inspiration. Or, sorry, guidance.
Okay, so if you can add your proficiency bonus to survival checks, yes.
Hmm.
36. It takes you a few minutes of like walking beyond the end of the road, and you start poking around, and she gets a good 100 feet, 150 feet away, and you're almost worried like she's going to get lost out there. But eventually she calls out that she has spotted something. There is some evidence of someone not too long ago cutting this way through the jungle.
Nice job, Sherry.
One thing in particular that you do find is that there is a scrap of fabric, which those of you who would have met Mitsumi a while ago, looks like the robe she would have been wearing when she fled. Definitely Mitsumi doesn't look at all like anything that Adelia would have been wearing. So if she made her way through here, she's much better at covering her tracks.
Yep. I'm just following.
So now I'll just describe this for you guys as we begin to transition away from the city and start to traverse the jungle environment.
Oh, I can't wait for the jungle music. Eek.
So you guys have about a half day. You were on the actual road, but now you're in the deep jungle. The sun, while it is out, the canopy is so thick that you are very often just in shadow, which for Rickethan is rather comfortable. Until every so often you could swear you're hearing something move around you, or you might even thought you've seen a pair of eyes staring back at you, and then you look back and there's nothing. So you remember that you are primarily using urban environments, and then you're out in the wild right now, and all of your skills go out the window. Like you can fight, you know how to be in light or dark, but right now you're not in your territory at all. Sherry, meanwhile, this is becoming more familiar. This is becoming more comfortable to you, and you get back into the old habit of the way you used to trailblaze. So you were finding the natural cadence. And for you guys following her, it's like she just keeps doing a switchback trail where she's just going up diagonally, then back this way, then back this way. And you turn around, you're like, oh, fuck, that took so long to go not very far. But also, you have no idea where you are right now. You left the trail hours ago. There's probably no way you could find your way back unless she was guiding you.
Well, it's a good thing we have Sherry.
As it gets, it's probably about 2 or 3 o'clock. So the sun is well past being completely above you in the sky. It'll be setting in a couple of hours. So for you, you feel like you're making good time, and you do every so often pick up on tracks or another scrap of some article of clothing or item she's dropped. So every so often you reassess and think, okay, have I lost the trail? No, I can still find her. And you continue on. But it is kind of like you're just sweeping back and forth. You're not really taking a direct route due east. You're more so trying to make sure you're safely navigating the jungle. And that means you have to make a lot of concessions to the terrain, going around rocks and going around trees and things like that. There is a point in the late afternoon where you guys come upon a pool of bubbling tar. And it's unique because you don't really see that kind of thing. It's not so much of like a mire of nasty water, but actual black pitch. And as you all stop to admire this, you see like a small little cat, some little jungle cat, come up to it, and it like sort of reaches down to sniff at it, and a little like black tendril grabs it and pulls it in, and with a quick shriek, it just gets submerged.
Don't go near that.
That's fucking metal.
What did they say about curiosity?
It killed that thing.
Wow. Is there a smell coming from it?
You would have to get closer to investigate. From several feet back, no.
Good thing you saw that, Cher. Let's you see any other tracks around it?
Do I see anything around it?
Give me a nature survival check or an investigation check if you just want to check around it.
A helper.
Is it still double? Plus
All right,
6?
so you're doubling your proficiency bonus. You know that's
Right.
separate from any of the other bonuses. Okay, yeah. So if you're in your favorite terrain, yes.
It's basically gonna be plus 12 whenever I roll, which is
Okay.
30.
30. You once again pick it up. Obviously, it's like, quite a ways off where that person, so they are easily able to navigate around it. So you're kind of like, yeah, it picks up more over this way. Let's get the fuck away from whatever that is. Whenever she says that, she just points like it to you all in a random direction, but that's the way she says to go, so you're willing to go.
Can I use disguise self?
Sure. Who do you disguise yourself to look like?
A shrub.
He takes on what is a very leafy appearance all of a sudden, as though like plant life has started to grow out of him, and his skin kind of models and shifts pattern a little bit. It's not so much that it looks like he is a shrub, but more so that he has just like tried to make some kind of a ghillie suit.
Yes, that is exactly what I was going for.
Okay. As you all walk away from the boiling pitch that's just sitting there in the middle of the jungle, it catches your eye, for anyone who looks back, the skeleton of that creature, that cat, begins to crawl out of the pitch, and it's still kind of like covered in the goop, but you can tell there is no more organs or muscles or anything. It's just bone. and it just slowly like kind of shakes itself and just walks back into the jungle as though nothing happened.
Perception check.
Give me a perception check.
Oh. 4.
You're mostly just liking how cool this jungle looks and how beautiful everything is. This is nature that you haven't gotten to see in quite a while. The pool of goo is weird, but you know, nature has its weird things like that. That's okay. Nothing unnatural about that. Meanwhile, a completely reanimated skeleton is walking away.
Okay, let us continue.
Okay. You guys continue on. It's another couple of hours progress that you're going to make for the first day. Probably a little more than half the progress to where you would estimate you need to head in the general direction, but you are slowed a little bit having to go through this pathfinding that she is doing, as well as making sure that you're still on the heels, on the footsteps of somebody else. So it may take a bit longer than you expected originally doing it this way. But eventually you guys find a good place to bed down for the night. It's not so much a clearing as just like a place where there aren't trees all right on top of each other. So you can just kind of basically have, it's probably half the space you would normally acclimate to. So you're all kind of close together. Rickethan, if you want to get any kind of rest, you might have to sit a little bit further away from everyone else.
I'll do that, but I will also volunteer for the first watch.
Okay. Volunteer for the first watch.
How
So-
far away are we talking?
I mean, you have to be more than 10 feet away by your own abilities. You need to be at least 15 to 20 feet away from everyone else.
For the sake of visualizing, how close is everybody else together?
They're close. They're like all within 5 feet of each other. They're not quite on top of each other, but it's cozy. They're not going to be able to
literally
like
head
be.
toe, but basically.
Basically, they basically need to be within. Like if they put their arm out, they're going to hit somebody else.
All right.
Because again, there's not much bare floor in this jungle. It's just they tried to find a place where there aren't trees all right on top of each other. So there's just barely enough space for them all to put a bedroll down. It's actually more that they're kind of like in a weird crescent shape in between the trees. If you guys want to make a fire, you can try to make a fire. You're going to have to probably take some time to clear the space in the dirt and the vegetation to make a fire pit.
I use mold earth.
Okay, you use mold earth and you make a neat little place where you could probably build a small fire.
You guys just making a whole little camp out of thin air. Look at this is great. We should go camping more often.
As he says that, I'm just gonna go sit down to meditate, to try to rest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Keys, we need to appreciate the little things on these islands. No, you know, once we're done with this, let's find a nice little spot and go for a little relaxation and see a view. For like fun, you know? What was the last time we did something fun, Keys?
Been a while. Would you not consider killing things fun?
I mean, maybe the eyes and Rickethan, they literally believe in blood and gore and murder and death.
And what do you
I see it as
believe
an
in?
end to a means.
Mhm. What do you believe in, Captain?
I believe in a lot of weird shit, man. I believe Umberly is real. I believe this forest is creepy, and I believe that Sherry got us exactly where we need to go.
Mhm.
So I
Umberly.
believe that life is good. Thanks for asking, Keys.
Do you believe that the draconic mark you mentioned earlier is benign?
Wait,
Are you
you're
with
not
them,
here.
or
You're
are
not
you
with
on?
us.
Are you on watch? You're
I
away
mean, I
from the
thought this
party.
was like a very tight encounter or encampment, and I thought we had not actually gone to bed yet.
It's up to you if you guys decide if you're gonna camp out together and then take watch in a bit. But depends. If the adventuring day ends, who's on first watch?
Me.
Okay.
So I
so
thought we were still just winding down and like setting everything up and whatnot.
Okay,
I just
that's
had to be
fine.
10 feet away, which I mean, I'd be able to hear them, I'd assume. So.
it's up to them if they decided to go to bed or not. So I'm like, it depends. That's the weird thing. But if you guys stop to camp, that's the end of the adventuring day. Somebody's on watch.
Who's on watch?
Anyways,
I'm
all right.
I'll be on watch. I'm gonna sit by myself on the other side of wherever Rickethan is, and kind of be in a meditative mode, but hyper aware of what's around.
Hyper aware. Give me a perception check.
Can you give it to him with advantage for being hyper aware?
No.
Oh,
17.
17. You do try to keep your focus for most of the early evening, and you hear the murmuring of your comrades as they're still chatting and talking amongst each other. There was a few times where you had to escort people along some trails, so you're not completely unfamiliar with the jungle, but this is the first time you've ever been like this deep in the jungle. So it's a little bit not unnerving, but you just know that every time you hear something, you're not sure if you should wake everyone up or not. So it just makes you a little bit anxious because you don't know where the threshold for danger or threat is. And just as towards the end of your shift for the first watch is when you could swear that you heard something and you try to like shift your gaze away from the firelight to make it out. And you just kind of see like a slinking shape going through very slowly the underbrush. But it doesn't really approach your camp, so you leave it be.
I'm going to take my sword out of its scabbard and kind of put it on my knee, just resting.
Sure. Every so often you hear the caw, caw. But nothing seems to come close to your camp. Maybe the firelight is warding things off. You're not sure. Okay, that'll end the first watch. Who's taking second watch?
I'm watching all at all times.
Well, I'll say you don't have 360-degree perception, but if you want to choose a direction and say, I'll watch this end of the camp, you can watch the other end, that's fine.
Let's see. I am going to be watching at 92 degrees.
Sure.
So
Get out the protractor.
Mm-hmm. All right, so one end of the camp is going to be watched by Keys, and the other end is going to be watched with whoever is volunteering, which is good. You guys are in kind of an elongated crescent shape, so one side and the other side will help cover most of that. Who is taking second watch along with Keys?
I'm gonna stay in my same spot.
You mean to sleep?
Nope. I'm gonna keep my sort of trance mode going.
Well, you can't be in your trance mode and keep watch. Just FYI.
Okay. I think it's sort of like what I'm thinking is it's like that, just like that meditative mode where you're not quite, you're basically just like hearing everything and then letting it pass through. It's like coming in, processing, going through. And yeah, I'm just sitting there and not moving.
Okay. This doesn't count as being on watch though. You've shifted to being I'm going to have my trance. That's your rest period. So you're on rest period. Mechanically, it doesn't work that way.
I
Okay.
can take the watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still
So
get
I'll
another.
just stay and get into that mode, and yeah.
Finnan, you rouse yourself from the initial bit of sleep. You're going to basically do a half shift where you're like sleeping a little bit, middle of the night, sleeping a little bit, morning.
Yep.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I got a 22.
22. Middle of the night, there's the animals which are awake, and there are those that are asleep, but not a whole lot to keep you abused. So you half wonder if you should play a little game for yourself, or count the things that you see that all look the same. But after a while, your mind just kind of wanders until eventually you notice that something is moving up above you. And you very quickly look up, and there is a coiling little garden green snake. And it just kind of like moves its head up, and it's about 10, 15 feet above you. Just kind of looks down at you, its little mouth flicking out.
Finn's gonna pull his the fusion sword out and just rest it on his legs, kind of readying a counterattack. Thing comes closer.
It just kind of stares at you for a minute or two, and then
Okay.
you see two bat-like wings unfold, and it lets its body uncoil, and it just cruises off into the forest. Just gliding, flying snake. Not unlike the one you had purchased some time ago.
Yeah. Finn's gonna have a moment of reflection for that snake. And then carry back on with his watch.
Okay. Watch comes to a close, very uneventful. Who is taking the final watch?
Sherry should take it.
And me.
Yeah, at some point you'd be awake. You guys could very easily cover the nighttime shift.
Why should Rickethan be up? Rickethan?
If I would note, I mean, I don't care either way, honestly. I offered to take the first one, but then that was taken, so I really don't care.
Doesn't really matter to me.
It's just both of you take watch. Fuck it.
Okay, so yeah, if you guys want to sit together and take watch together, Keys has got the other angle, and honestly, at some point, Eyes is also going to be present. So it's up to you guys.
Or you can just wake up early. That's also an option.
Well, at some point, you need a full night's rest, so you do have to be asleep for 8 hours.
All right, then I'll get back to it.
I'll watch with Cherry then.
Okay.
We could just carry Finn in. He's not that big.
I have a negative strength modifier. You can carry him.
Fair. I mean, I could have you guys carry me at some point.
As long
It
as you
really
flap your
wouldn't be that
wings.
hard.
So you guys, so if you guys take the watch, you guys can give me perception checks together.
Excellent. Okay, here we go. Ew.
Does it say any wisdom checks, or how does it work? If it's just perception checks, then yes. All right. I would say yes. You're in the jungle. You need to be making perception checks. Okay. The 25. I mean, you're well aware of the cadence between night and day. You could literally start naming animals that you hear or see to Rickethan. Just basically, you're like, all right, we're in the jungle. We're this far in. We're likely to see these things or that things. The really dangerous stuff is this or that. And I just need to watch out for those signs. You don't see any of them, so you're mostly like, okay, This is all fine.
I'll regard Sherry at some point through our watch and just sort of ask her about how she was trained in this sort of navigation.
If you want to make a history check, go ahead. $14. You know, Sherry doesn't normally like to share very much about her past, but she does kind of intimate that it was a little bit further south than where you guys are right now, so you guess that's where she's from. But she did regularly take trips out into the jungle with her teacher, who would help recommend habits or teach her the basics of how to find a path or walk away and back to a path, how to navigate if you can't see the sun or the moon or the stars, various other things. So she just kind of gives you the mechanics of what that was like, but she seems to be light on the specifics about who trained her.
I think Rakesh might be forthright and honest. He means well, and obviously in the defense of our boat, he might have singed a few extra things, but I think he is faithful, and I do not think he wishes us harm as of yet. No more mysterious than mine, but still unknown to me. Perhaps? Why do you say that? I've felt that too. I inquired with him about his companion and what his intentions were, so to loop back to your question, I think Rakesh might be our ally, but I don't know if our invitation is as safe as they might want us to think. Or even if Rakesh is not fully in the loop. Are you concerned about something in particular? Rakesh's presence or the invitation? Well, I do not fear death, but I also do not actively wish to seek it, so I do hope that when we venture to the Ashen Coast that it is not met with immediate fire. Sort of jokingly, I say, well, wouldn't a dragonkin be resistant to fire themselves? Yeah. It was a little suspicious that a few of our crew members defected immediately upon the announcement of going to the Ashen Coast, but I could. Perhaps I will find entries about you. He seems to be curious about your ability to speak his language and your knowledge of his culture. But not just him, the entirety of his leadership. Well, you've chosen to indulge in things that are quite curious yourself. Not that there's a problem with that, but, with their policy of outsiders, it's amazing that you've been able to develop this knowledge. We don't always seek opportunity. Sometimes it seeks us. Is there something that...
Yeah, I'm up.
Keys is on the opposite side of the camp, so if you wanted to, you'd have to talk across the camp and wake up anybody else who's sleeping.
Do they even see me? Because
they're facing the opposite direction, and if you have your camouflage idea up, it might be a little bit hard to see you. They might think you're like a moss-covered rock or something.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm doing right now.
He's just vibing with nature.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Sherry, what would you have me do? Fair enough.
Okay. All right. Well, the watch passes mostly uneventfully, and eventually you both greet the morning sun. Although it's heavily obscured, you just can tell that the general ambient light goes from being very dark to lighter and lighter and lighter. Eventually, everyone wakes up. The last person to wake up is Tim Tim, who you are making do way more than he has ever had to do in his life. So by the second day of travel, he is pretty rugged. He's pretty banged up, knees scraped, all that good stuff. But he's still trying to go along and do what he can. So,
he didn't have to come on this one.
I think to ensure his safety, he is better off with us. If only so that we may be immediately aware of any dangers to him.
Okie doke.
Yeah, you guys have been taking care of him to make sure he's okay. So, yeah. Oh, thanks, Mrs. Sherry. That's real nice. You can certainly try. The last few times people have tried to actually teach him magic, he doesn't seem to pick up on it very well. He has his own gifts and abilities, but for whatever reason, he's just kind of doing it. He's not seemingly understanding of magical theory. Like, he'll verbalize and do the hand gestures, but it doesn't really seem to come to effect for him. Okay. You guys start another day's travel if you want to.
Yep, let's get moving. Pitter patter.
You guys set off for another day's travel. It's much the same, where you are all just kind of cutting back and forth, back and forth. Every so often, Sherry will stop and pause to let you all know, like, hey, I think I've got some tracks here. It's a little more difficult the second day. You feel like the first day's worth of tracks were pretty fresh, but now that you've moved farther and farther away, it's just getting a little more tricky. And there's one or two times where you could swear you've got tracks going opposite direction, and you start to follow them, and you're like, no, wait a minute. This isn't right. She would only be heading east. She wouldn't be heading west again, so that doesn't make any sense. All right, back this way. And that happens once or twice. You guys get a little bit slowed down. But eventually, you get somewhat of... So a little past your stopping and breaking for lunch, that you get kind of a positive note. It's like a section of wall. It's just a low, mortared stone wall. But it's out in the middle of the jungle where you haven't had any buildings or any edifices at all. And there's almost no inscriptions or any kind of markings other than it being a built wall. And it's like a section of it, a right angle, and a little more section of it. And that's all that you see. The rest of it is just totally grown over with moss and lichen and tree roots.
What's Tim Tim doing?
Tim, he's generally just kind of like vibing, happy to be there. Every so often he will like kind of look at something in the forest and think it's pretty cool. He's gotten into the habit of like juggling that ball of his if he's really distracted. He's usually in between Rickethan and Sherry if he's anywhere. Sometimes he's hanging back with the captain.
Okay.
Not very big. It's probably like 10 foot by 5 foot in length. It's just a small corner of a building, which is now long since gone. Even like where the earth would have been for the rest of the building, it's just all forest floor. So you've got dead vegetation and fresh growth all over your feet.
How difficult would it be to climb the wall?
Not very.
I climbed the wall.
You climb up, and now you're standing a good 4 feet above everybody else.
I'm the king of the world. Just-
You're
You're a
already the
fucking
tallest
goober,
person
dude.
here. What?
yeah.
Do you see
What do
anything
you
up
see up there?
there?
I look around.
Make a
What do I
perception
see?
check.
I am the worst person for this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're also the king of the world.
10.
10.
I
What's
am the
king of the world
10.
see?
You mostly are seeing the rest of the jungle, but you then do notice, because it's hard not to, movement. And it's a humanoid figure. And this figure is slowly, or rather rapidly, once they notice you all, running towards you all, and they're having to like push their way around trees and stuff like that. Very quickly, you notice this person has almost no clothes on. They have a little bit of like what's underneath, just some undergarments, but they look pretty cut up. They look like they are sickly or a little bit tired, as though they might have been poisoned or something. And it's only as they like kind of break into this clearing where this building was that you notice something very familiar about them. It is Rickethan. And he has come running out of the jungle, battered and bruised without his house's armor on. And he very quickly points at the person that looks just like him in his armor and says, "That's not me! That's not me! That's somebody else!"
Try.
Oh, very quickly as you all like hear Rickethan's voice screaming, "That's not me! That's not me!" And they're pointing at the Rickethan you've all been walking with all day. You can all hear that.
Arcana check.
Make an Arcana check.
I'd like to Arcana check the Rickethan that is coming at us.
Make an Insight check.
Hey, 14.
14. You don't really get anything off of the person as far as Arcana. They're a little bit further away. They're like 20 feet away or so. But from your eyes, you're like, looks like Rickethan. For the Insight check, you fully believe them that they are saying that the person that they are pointing at is not Rickethan. They very much believe that to be the truth.
Detect good and evil.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. If you want to burn that spell slot.
You can do stuff.
I just say, what the hell?
Yep, let's burn that spell slot. Let's see. I can see. Detect good and evil.
Okay. You burn the spell slot for detect good and evil. That's just for the alignment stuff, right?
For duration, you know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located.
Is it anything about alignment though, while it says good and evil, or is it just the creature type?
I think it's creature type.
Oh,
I'll let you
5e,
roll
you've
that.
mislabeled something again.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll let you roll that.
Okay. You don't detect any of those creatures nearby you.
Infinite insight, check it.
Infinite insight check it? What does that mean?
No, just I want to insight check.
Who are you
It's
insight checking? The person that just screamed,
a
"That's
naked
not me"?
Rickathon, yes.
Roll me an insight check.
I got a 14.
Okay. You as well believe this person when they say that that's not me and that they seem insistent that the other person is false.
Well, that person can't be this person because that person is clearly that person. What?
Has
looks like
anyone
me, right?
seen Rickathon naked before?
You'll have to answer all that yourselves. I'll just say that for as far as his face is concerned, it looks like Rickathon, and it looks like Rickathon's build. I don't think any of
Finn's
you
gonna
have
hold
seen
his
him
sword
naked.
up. Finn's gonna hold his sword up
Uh-huh.
and say, "Stop! What's your name?" to this random person.
The random person's like, "Captain, it's me. It's Rickathon. What the fuck are you guys doing? Get away from them."
I'm gonna cast Detect Magic, first level spell.
Okay. You cast attack magic on the figure in front of you or the figure that's standing amongst your group?
So this one is just sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of me.
Within 30
me,
feet.
so-
They're both within 30 feet of you. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm
Um,
gonna cast it and just look around.
Okay. You're looking around, and as your eyes pass over each individual person, you get the sense of magic coming off of Sherry and off of Keys. You get the magical items that are coming off of Finnan, and you're also getting a little bit of magic from Tim Tim. Although again, it's in that really weird headspace that you're not sure you understand. And again, the armor and the weapons and all that is triggering for everything. So you again sense the very common Urukon armor that is being worn, and your eyes pass over the other Rickathon, and you get no magic from this person who is like naked. But you quickly look back at the other Rickathon, and you see that their eyes look like snake eyes. And you hold on that for a moment. And they very quickly pull out a sword and hold it to Tim Tim's neck.
Fuck!
I'm going to need everyone to roll initiative, please.
What the fuck?
Holy shit, you dog.
I got 24.
24.
Do you have a map for this?
2. I do not. This is going to be
Theater of the Mind.
8 for Sherry. Eyes is 8. And the Rickathon, who's getting to do this with his AC adjusted because he has no armor right now and no fucking weapons until he takes them from somebody.
16.
No, I did not
16.
notice this last night.
Nope.
My bad.
Top of the initiative. I'll get some mission going here, but top of the initiative, Finnan, you go first, followed by some surprise enemies which are about to hit y'all. So what do you want to do? You have just seen that the child that you are supposed to be taking care of has been grabbed, and there is now a sword at his neck.
Finnan is gonna
Do you have a link
use.
to his character sheet?
It should be pinned in
I'm gonna shoot a walloping crossbow bolt at this thing, and try and knock it off of Tim Tim.
Okay.
Actually, don't do that. Yeah, we'll do that. That sounds like a good idea. Let's save Tim Tim
Okay.
first.
Give me an attack roll, please.
Fucking 27.
The 27. You
darn.
react very quickly, pull this out, shoot the walloping arrow, and it socks right into Rickathon's face. They let go of Tintam, and very quickly it just like goes to the ground and crawls away, and actually kind of towards where Sherry and you are standing, but he's just staying on the ground. You see as the walloping arrow hits them, the face, which was formerly Rickathon's, shifts, and there's like a bunch of like snake scales that you see, and you can very clearly see now that their eyes are not right, that their eyes are like snake eyes. And for a brief second, there's even like a forked tongue that comes out. and it just growls at you.
Do you want me to roll
Uh,
damage?
You can roll damage if it does damage, but it's mostly a stunning attack.
Oh, I thought I still got to use my the D8 for the crossbow for damage.
No,
It's just
that's fine. I think
it's
the
just
walloping arrow does its
ammo.
own thing, though.
Well, no, it's just a creature that doesn't meet or hit by the bolt must succeed on a DC 10 strength saving throw or be knocked prone on top of the attack.
Mm. They do not pass that, so they very quickly get knocked back against the wall, and they are prone. And they'll need to burn their movement to get up.
And when you say I get sneak attack on this, because Tim is within 5 feet of him?
Yes.
Mm. 27 damage.
27 damage. Yeah, you probably dislocated their jaw on that shit. Okay. That is ending your turn, unless you want to do something else.
That will. Well, I'll move in and stand next to Tim and
Okay,
draw my
you're
swords.
Guarding
That's my
Tim.
bonus action. Yep.
Okay. Alrighty, ending your turn. Do you now notice that in addition to the creature, Keith, you especially notice this, the floor of the forest seems to be moving, and it takes you a second until you see that there are several swarms of snakes that are beginning to converge on your group. And it's like the forest is alive, and it is converging on all of you guys. You're up on a wall, so they're having to reach up to get you. So one of the swarms is going to try to get you on the next round, but for right now, they're not able to meet you. The other swarms, one is coming up behind Rickethan, the actual Rickethan. It's going to do a bite attack. That is a 19 to hit.
What is my AC without armor?
So your AC is probably just going to be 10 plus your dex.
Okay, that definitely hits.
All right. So you are going to take 7 points of damage. That's piercing damage, and then I need to make you to make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw.
I 18.
All right. So you will pass the saving throw and take half of 17 points of damage, so 8 points of poison damage on top of the 7. Ending the first swarm's turn. The second swarm is going to go after where Finnan and Sherry is standing. Probably going to go after Sherry if she's closer while Finnan tries to guard the child. So, snake attack. You're close enough by, I would say, yes. That is a 26 to hit. So nat 20 plus 6. Okay. So that's going to be damage. Let me start rolling this so everyone can see these. That is 17 points of piercing damage, and I need you to make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. Mm-hmm. Okay. You take 13 points of poison damage along with the 17 piercing. And that is going to end the other swarm's turn. Rickethan, you've just been bit. Hurts. A little bit of poison, but you're shaking it off. You're used to dealing with poisons. There's a little bit of distance to close until you meet the other creature, which is now prone. They are wearing your armor. They have all your fucking gear. You've been running through the forest the whole half day to catch up with your crew, but you are mad. What do you want to do?
Are there any? Do I notice any shadows in this space?
So yes, there are a few shadows if you want to get like right underneath another tree and kind of like go to the other end of where the fight is happening. But also, there is a low wall. Could technically appear right beside the creature who was knocked against the wall if you use the shadows of that low wall.
I would like to do that.
Okay, so Keys, you very quickly know that the real Rickathon is here because they just kind of disappear. He has to step back like into the canopy, but he steps back and then appears right at your feet underneath you because he's gone through the shadows in the way that only he can do. And he is right beside that creature that took his armor and his appearance.
I would like to try to grapple the creature.
Okay, I mean, they're prone. This is going to be an advantage. Go ahead and make a strength check for me. Opposed strength check.
17.
That's a 0 for them, plus 10. Yeah, they're on the ground. You can very easily grapple them. So they are now grappled. Is there any particular way you're holding them or doing anything?
I'm pissed. I think I'm trying to hold their neck.
Okay,
Maybe
you've just
like
got
give
them.
a few punches in the face or something.
Yeah. I mean, they're just kind of like, and you can see again their face contorting and shifting between Rickathons and then between this like humanoid snake kind of creature.
I guess I should have asked. Would their back be to me, or would they be facing me while prone?
They were knocked against the wall, so they were like down against the wall. So you can appear beside them, but you'd be facing them like perpendicular.
Yeah. Then I'll reach out for their neck, like
You
with
got
my
it.
hands instead of choking them.
Yep. Okay. So you could technically burn half your movement if you wanted to move them, or you could just stay where you're at.
How close am I to that 90-degree corner in the wall?
You peered out of it basically.
Okay. Yeah, I'll burn my movement to sort of drag them into the corner, push them in between it, or like back into it.
Okay, yeah. You just kind of like grapple them and throw them into the corner. You just kind of against that corner, pinned down. All right. Eyes, it is now your turn. What do you want to do?
I'm going to take out both my weapons
Okay.
and head to the closest baddie.
All right. There's just like swarms of snakes which are appearing around you. Basically, if you turn in any direction and move more than 5 feet, you're going to hit enemies. But it's like there's not a clear singular. It's just a swarm of snakes. If you start swiping at the ground, you're going to cut something.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm swiping at the ground.
You got it.
24 to hit.
Oh, yeah, that hits.
16 to hit.
That also hits.
All right. 19 damage.
Okay. 18 damage. Yeah, you just see that he very quickly like, and it just like snake parts just start erupting up out of the grass, and there's just blood everywhere. That dark, nasty blood.
And I'm gonna look around to see if there's any more rustling.
I mean,
See
there
if
is.
That's coming in. Okay. More
Okay,
swarms?
make a perception check if you want to see if there's anything else approaching the battle.
8.
Yeah, mostly you're just focused on all the craziness around you and all the snakes which are slithering underfoot.
Snake!
Snake! All right. That'll end his turn. Sherry, it is your turn. Mm-hmm. Okay. As you've moved around them and tried to leave the attacking space of the snakes are going to get an attack of opportunity on you. They came up to melee range to bite you, and then if you leave and you have to go through somebody else's space, that's an additional 5 feet, so you left their space. Okay. This is one single attack plus 6. 14. That is, yeah. Okay, so you very quickly, like, definitely, you kind of have, like, hopping around because there's just, the ground is full of snakes. You cast Spirit Guardians. On the first turn that you burn Spirit Guardians, that will do damage, I believe.
I think it is on. It's on your turn and then their turn, and then they have to get out of it.
Okay. What do these spirits that you call forth resemble? But what does it look like when you summon them forth? What does that look like?
Peas. They all look like turtles. They all look like me.
What do they look like, Sherry? Nobody else is talking right now. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You know, I wonder what it's like to have 4th level spells.
So that would be 48, you said, if they are failed the wisdom saving. Okay, and it's a wisdom save for you of 14. Okay, that is going to include the creatures, so I will make a note to make them save first. Wisdom save. Nat 20 plus 1. Sorry. Beats the wisdom save. I needed to have these two windows open at the same time, and that sucks. I mean, they're already pinned and held against the wall, so they ain't going anywhere for right now. So let me roll that damage, or rather, you roll the damage, then I'll be taking half of that. Okay, so about 8 points. Got it. Okay, very quickly you see as they're being held down, and it's like, and then you see their body like Rick. As you're holding them against the wall, you can see like these wisps of spectral light just start like piercing into them and like kind of glowing as they burrow into it, and it kind of just dulls a little bit. But then there's also just like blood starts to come out of their mouth, just like they are not liking this. But okay. I will also say that, of course, they are going to probably fail the saving throws. Let's see. Wisdom save for all of these snakes. Oh my god, it passed with a flat no bonus. 15. Holy shit. So that'll be 8 points, 8 points, 8 points. Cool. Some of these snakes are looking pretty fucked up. Cool. That is going to end their turn, and then the last, I think, round of snakes are those that are just going to kind of try to counterattack on eyes. Going to do an attack on you.
Yeah.
16?
Yep.
Okay. That is 3 points of piercing damage. And then give me a DC 10 con save.
18.
Nice. So you will only take 9 points of poison damage. Okay, ending its turn. It is now the creature's turn. It is going to try to cast a spell, and it basically locks eyes with you, Rickathin. And you can see that its slits kind of narrow, and it just says, "Release." I need you to make a wisdom save. DC 12. Charisma spell save.
Okay.
And I believe as with your elf ancestry, you have advantage on making this.
I know I have I actually don't know off the top of my head. I
Okay.
think it was wisdom.
Let me double check, but the ancestry thing is normally for against being charmed. You would advantage against being charmed.
Is that what this would be? Is this like a charm to like control my actions into releasing them?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So DC 12 with advantage.
16.
Oh yeah. You can feel this creature having some kind of ability trying to pierce into your mind, but your discipline and training is such that it's like, fuck, no, what are you talking about? Shut up. It's going to try to break the grapple, but it's going to do it at disadvantage because it's not having a good time right now. Give me a strength check, please.
Would this be a flat? Since it's like I rolled because it was on the ground. I rolled with advantage, but now that I have it grappled, it's
Flat.
just a
Yeah,
roll.
for you it'd be flat. That is controlled by Keys, and that will go at the end of Keys' turn. Keys is at the bottom of the initiative order. Tim is also currently prone, crawling on the ground.
11.
11. That beats what they rolled on disadvantage, so I'll say it's just an even wash. Nothing is happening. They're trying real hard to get up, though.
It's a bit of a struggle.
Yep. That will end that creature's turn. Keys, it is your turn. What do you want to do?
Oh my goodness. Okay, which one's closest to me?
I mean, there are snakes which are climbing the wall, about to get you on the next round. There are 2 Rickathins fighting at your feet, about 4 feet below you, so within melee range if you want to reach down and hit somebody. And then the others are about 10 feet away from you, further away from the wall.
Hey, can I tell which Rickathin is? Well, one's naked, of course. I shoot the
You can tell them apart, yes. One is on the ground in armor, the other is naked for the most part in his underwear, choking the other one.
Okay, I'm gonna Eldritch Blast the one that isn't being choked.
Choketh?
Choketh. Choketh.
Okay. Is that an attack roll? Is that an attack roll or saving throw?
Looking into it right now.
I think it's an attack roll.
Range attack. Spell attack.
So, technically because it's ranged, you have to make these at disadvantage, because they are still prone being held down.
No, fine.
Are you
Sorry,
attacking
Rickathin, I
him?
might hit you.
Oh my god.
If you roll a 1, you'll hit him, so don't roll a 1.
Okay. Okay, 14.
Hits.
Plus 6, so hits.
Yeah. 14
So-
plus 6, you said?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it definitely hits.
Yeah.
So 1d10 force damage. That's a d12. Here's a d10. Okay, 5.
Okay.
5 damage.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so he the other Rickathin, the lizard Rickathin takes 5 damage.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
Tim is going to use Mind Sliver
Mm-hmm.
on the Rickathin that had sword against his throat.
Okay.
Intelligence saving throw.
Okay. That is... Ooh, that was almost a 20. 3.
3. Yeah, that fails. Okay, 1d6 psychic. Okay. So 3 damage.
Okay.
Hold up. He adds his. Does he add? Damage is okay. So spellcasting modifier 3, 7 damage on that one total. And then the lizard Rickathin takes away 1d4 from its next saving throw
Okay.
before the end of your next turn.
Okay.
Okay. And then I think that's going to be it for the time being.
All right. So he is just on the ground, near in between Sherry and Finnan.
Wait, he's on the ground?
He's
Oh.
crawled. He's crawled on hands and knees to get away from the creature, and he never got told to stand up. So he's still just
Okay.
kind of on the ground underneath Finnan's legs.
Okay, he's going to grab onto Finnan's legs because he is terrified right now.
He grabs both of Finnan's legs. Speaking of Finnan, it's the top of the round. What do you wish to do?
Are there
Yes.
I'm gonna tell Tim to let go of my legs to start, and then I'm going to move over the I guess the imposter, or like I guess one of the swarms on the ground.
Give me a persuasion check, or if you're just gonna tell him that and then try to move.
You know what? Hey, maybe I don't need to move. Can I attack the snake swarms that are on the ground, like from where I am?
From where you are, no. There are none that are within melee range. They're getting close. They'll be upon you on their next turn, but they're not right now, right in front of you. They're behind you, near where Eyes is, and they're over the wall. And then Sherry also,
This
I
is
think,
hard
was
doing
going to
this
attack
theater of the
someone.
mind. Okay, well then I guess I'll ready an action, and you know what? No, I'll tell Tim to let go, and then I'll move, and then I'll attack the ones.
Give me a persuasion check.
I got a 23.
Okay. Because you're kind of barking at him, lets go, but you can tell that he's like very quickly going to try to crawl after you the second that you move.
Okay. So yeah, Finnan will attack the one of the swarms that's closest to us.
You got it.
All right. Does a 18 hit?
Hits.
And does a 12 hit?
Does not.
All right. Well, at least got one. Yeah, one blow to land. Is someone next to it as well, or no?
No. They're really kind of all coming at you from different angles, so depending on where you're hitting, there's not going to be somebody always there.
So would you say I get sneak on this or no?
No.
Okay. 14 damage.
Okay, 14 damage. Again, every time you guys successfully hit, like you're cutting down on how many total snakes there are, but it's just swarms are all around you. So you're slowly winnowing them down, but everywhere you step, you might get bit.
It's a good thing we have an AoE thing that fucks them up if they stay within it.
True. Okay, anything else you want to do for your turn?
My apologies. No, go ahead.
Alrighty. So that swarm is going to take another. That's with a saving throw, I believe, to see if it's halves or not. Okay, wisdom save. Okay. 14. That's a 4, so it fails. No, that's fine. You don't got to roll damage again. Technically, you would, but with this, because it's just swarms of snakes, very quickly as that swirling mass of blue energy rakes through, you cut into the snakes, and then you see that the rest of the snakes, which are now trying to like move away from your sword strikes, are just getting like milleted, just piecemeal, just until there's just chunks of snake all around you, and that major swarm, which was coming from that area, is dead. Another swarm attack finally reaches up to Keys on the wall. It is going to try to attack you. Only a 10. So while they're swarming around you, you're also kind of like trying to quickly move your way around them and just stomp on them or just kick them away. They're going to take some damage. Go ahead and roll that 44 for me, or sorry, 48. Sherry, how much damage on the Spirit Guardians for this turn? Yeah. $18. So, as this swirling mass is covering you guys, just slowly cutting down all these masses of poisonous snakes. That is going to end their turn. Rickethan, it is your turn. You are seeing that this creature, this humanoid that you've got pinned down, is like so full of anger and vitriol that if you keep fighting it with all that you've got, it will fight to the death. It's probably not going to just give up. It's up to you if you decide, because you've only got your 2 hands and no weapons. So if you want to try to knock it out or anything, you can do that. But if you let it, the spells are probably going to kill it because it will not try to preserve itself.
You actually read my mind. As I'm holding its neck with my hands, I verbally cast Zephyr Strike.
Okay.
And after I do that, I will try to attempt that.
Does Zephyr Strike have any material components real quick? I don't believe so. Just triple confirm for me.
Components V.
Okay, just verbal. You got it.
That's what I thought. Okay. So I try to channel the movement like the wind into a punch, and I want to just hold its neck with one hand and try to knock it out with a swift strike.
Okay.
How would I roll?
Just give me a straight attack roll as you normally would. No bonus from the weapon or whatever. It's just your attack roll plus, well, plus nothing really.
Well, despite my best efforts, I get a nat 1.
You got a nat 1. You punch it in the face, and it seems to just be unfazed. It just keeps snarling at you. So you're like, okay, well, it's a tough son of a bitch, but...
That really sucks. Well, shoot. I would have had advantage on it,
Do you want to roll it again?
if you don't mind.
Okay. And just to recall, Zephyr Strike is a bonus action, correct?
Correct. So, like,
Alright.
as I'm sitting with my hands, I would have spoken the spell and then attempted.
You got it. Yep. Action attack and bonus action spell. You got it.
You said no proficiency, correct?
No proficiency.
11.
Possibly because it's wearing your armor, that is not enough to beat its AC. So, yeah. It's also in rage mode and does not seem to be acquiescing to your insistence that it go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. That is going to end your turn unless you want to do anything else.
I don't think I can do anything really with my movement if I want to keep this grappled, so.
Okay.
That'll be it.
Eyes, it is your turn.
Okay. I was reading the green flame blade, and I just have a quick question. So it's on hit, the target suffers the weapon attack's normal effects. Does that mean damage or the damage from the ability?
It's because you're going to cast it. It's going to be an enhancement. It's going to do the regular plus whatever green flame does. But I think you have to cast it first. Using the spell's casting, make a melee attack with it against one creature. Okay. Weapons attack normal effects, and you can cause green fire to leap from the target to a different creature of your choice. You can see blah 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 blah. The second creature takes fire damage equal to your spell casting. So basically, you get to do attack on more than one target. You get to do a melee attack on the one target, and then the green flame goes from them to the other creature.
Okay. So, alright, we'll do it that way. So, alright, so I'm gonna slash the closest thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
16?
Okay, cool. Didn't show up.
That
Alright,
hits.
16? Okay.
Yep.
And let's do... Why isn't it rolling? Okay, what is that
I'm
damage?
seeing it. That's weird. 7 damage, yep.
Okay, 7 damage, and then I think it's just straight 4 damage to another target.
Okay,
That's my spell mod.
you got it.
And then, do I get to do it again with my dual attack?
You only get to do it on your primary. You don't get to do it with the other sword. Because
Okay,
so
but-
that sword you're using as the focus, that's how it works.
Okay, because I get 2 hits with Talon. my
Oh, then
primary.
yes. Not technically because you don't do the spell twice in a turn.
Okay. Okay. So then I'll just do regular damage.
Okay.
All right. So 12 damage on top.
Nice. So with this, as you're just hacking and slashing, and you guys see that now there is this like napalm green flame, which is like spurting off of this mound that he's hacking into and lighting other creatures on fire. He works his way down and eventually just slaughters his way through one of the masses of snakes. So there are no more really around you guys. They're mostly being taken care of between Eyes and Sherry's spells and Finnan's work with the sword. The only ones left are the ones that were reaching out to attack Keys. Okay, anything else you want to do for your turn?
I just want to get closer to the ones attacking Keys.
All right, they're kind of coming up on the wall, so you have to like burn a little bit of movement to get around, but that's about it.
Okay. As long as it's is it within 30?
Yes, it's well
Okay.
within your distance to travel in one turn.
Cool. That's what I'm doing. I'm done.
Okay. Sherry, it is your turn. Most of the snakes seem to be getting taken care of, especially thanks to your spell casting. So if you want to just stay where you are, you can defend Tim, but it's up to you. Okay, you're basically going to be aiming at the wall, trying not to hit the Rickathons to take off some snakes around Key's legs. Okay, give me an attack roll. That meets it. So unfortunately, as you're trying to like carefully select your targets, you aim and you aim and you aim, and it just like goes twang off the top of the stone. And Eyes, you're running around to get on the opposite side, and you have to duck very quickly to miss the arrow. Rich Rickathon. There's 2 Rickathons. You got to tell me. Okay. Roll for the heal, please. Okay, 15 points of healing back. Healing word damage. That's weird, D&D Beyond. Why would you write it that way? So most of the wounds and the scuffs that you see that he got throughout the day have healed themselves up. He's looking more and more like himself. If you would also, actually, it's a waste of time. The spiritual gardens continue to like just use themselves like a spiritual blender, and they just keep cutting to pieces all of these snakes around. And eventually all of the snakes around the wall are also cleared off. So Keys is no longer being attacked. Finally, the Rickathon that is being choked out keeps trying to fight back, but you see more and more of the spiritual gardens just kind of like bite into their skin and burrow in until eventually they just kind of, the eyes close and slowly they go limp. They are unconscious and technically making death saves, so combat is officially ended. Slowly, as you all take a moment, the sounds of the forest return, but you've got that other Rickathon, and their face eventually just goes away from his appearance. And you see a humanoid woman with long dark hair, but along her face and along her brow, there are what look to be scales, like greenish scales.
Does this remind me of Mitsumi?
It does. It reminds you quite a bit of what you thought was only like a weird makeup effect, but is apparently her actual appearance.
So what is Mitsumi?
A lizard volk, or whatever this is. Can we bind
Is
her
she
up?
still breathing? Yeah.
I mean, she's been knocked unconscious and mortally wounded by a spell, so she will be dead in a few minutes.
Okay. I have a plan.
You spare the
Yeah.
dying, so she is stable now. Still pretty fucked up from all the attacks.
I will not let go until someone produces rope.
I produce rope.
The second you do that, her venomous eyes dart open. She just, you disgusting creatures! You meddle in what you should not. When my people return, we will kill you all.
Who are your people?
She just kind of continues to hiss at you, spitting at you, and you can see that forked tongue keeps flicking back out.
Does any spit land on me?
A little bit.
I slap her.
Filthy elf. You are not worthy of inheriting. We will kill you. We will kill the dragons. We will claim these islands for us and our ancestors.
Help me tie her. Or it's her, I don't know what it is. I would just like to keep one point of contact at least, and I think I might need some help. We do not
Yep.
want this thing escaping as of yet.
Just tie it up. Tie it up, son.
Release! I need everybody to make a DC 12 charisma saving throw. Those who are elvish can do so with advantage.
I got it, 12.
Okay.
10.
Eyes and Sherry, you both really want to make sure this person is okay. You think that you should let them go. You think that Rickethan should back off. Rickethan, what did you roll?
I got an 11.
You got an 11. You feel like you should let them go. At least let go of their neck.
Hey,
They got
hold
pretty
on.
fucked up in that fight.
Are we still in initiative here?
I don't think
Can
so.
I just kill this
Okay.
thing? Can I attack it and just like end it?
I
This
mean,
thing
it's
is-
not your. If we're in initiative, it's not your turn. It's technically Key's turn.
Okay.
It was a charm effect, so anyone who is elvish has advantage on that saving throw.
13.
You at 13. You do not think they should let her go, but everyone else seems to instantly react when she hissed release at them. And Rickethan is moving to like let go of the hands.
Hold her. Your magic doesn't work on all of us.
Are you sure?
Yes.
She's gonna very quickly try to get up and shove past you guys. I need an opposed strength check from Rickethan. You are closest.
Can I make an attack
Didn't
roll?
we tie her up?
You didn't yet. You were in the process, and before you got to her hand, she got a spell off. I got a 9. What did you roll?
7.
Dude, she is about to get moving. She will pass by Finnan, who wants to take a sword strike at her. How many points of healing did you give her, Sherry? Oh, shit.
Difficult terrain.
With the earth?
Yep, difficult terrain.
Okay. So she's very quickly going to stumble and fall at Finnan's feet within melee range.
Oh, I
How
get
many?
attack. I get advantage. Let's go.
15 points? Okay.
All right,
Okay.
I got non-nat 20,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got a 24.
Both of those hit.
Awesome. Hey, you know what? We have our motives.
Dead men tell no tales.
Well, she went into
If
the
you're
forest.
making those attack rolls, you make those attack rolls. They
I'm-
both
I'm
hit. What's the
making
damage?
I'm counting, Jeff. I'm counting.
Count?
All right, so that's 16, and that's 10,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a 3 plus 5. So that's going to be 34 damage. And then let me roll the other one.
That's the first. That's the first one.
I assume that I get my sneak attack because there's somebody else in the group that's still opposing her, right?
If you really need it, okay.
Yep. All right. Anyways,
I absorb some of the damage.
Tell me how much. You got to tell me how much.
I didn't even roll my second attack's damage yet.
Okay.
Roll the damage because I want to know how much you're hitting her for.
That's gonna be another 13. So a total of 49. Wait, it was like 34
I think 47.
plus 34. Yeah, 47 damage.
Okay, Keys. How much of that are you absorbing?
Okay, hold on. Let me look at.
Is it 2 or more?
Yes, it is.
Cool. She's not dead, but Finnan has basically almost cut her head off. If you hadn't done that, she would be dead. He would have decapitated her instantly.
God damn it, Finnan.
She's hostile. What is wrong with you?
I don't know. She told me to let her go, and I mean, why not?
She'll be making death
When
saves
did
again
we
in a
become
few
the
minutes,
Knights of
so
fucking purity?
decide what you're doing.
We need to understand why she invaded our team.
I would like to I'd like to tie her up, bind her legs, and then heal her.
Okay, you take a few minutes to do that. I'm going to make the second death save while you're doing that. That's 1 success and 1 failure.
Why don't we?
Okay, and then yeah, I heal her.
You heal her. You've bound her legs and you bound her hands. Do you bind her mouth?
Ooh, yes, I do.
You put a gag in the mouth, and she very quickly. And this goes on for a while. Like, with whatever amount of energy she has, she's struggling.
How long would this? I don't really want her struggling for the entire time it takes to take her out of here, so.
I'd like to punch her again with the Zephyr Strike. I'll use my second spell slot.
No,
for that.
no.
Just to knock her out. I'm not gonna try to damage her. I'm mad.
That's specified non-lethal damage.
Yeah. So if he specifies non-lethal, you'll burn the spell slot, and you can just punch her out and knock her unconscious.
I will do
Because
that.
she's almost dead already.
Yes. Well, I mean, I almost.
She's
punched the wall
very
first time.
fucked up. Despite being re-healed several times, she's incredibly fucked up. She probably wouldn't have made it very far on her own, even if she got past you guys.
How are we even sure this is Mitsumi? Why do you guys care about this random snake person?
Can I roll for certainty in some way? Because to me, it looks
If
like
you
it's Mitsumi.
now that she's knocked out, if you want to make an investigation or a history check to compare with your memory, Finn and I will say, as you are like standing there with the victim over you, you do feel like that hot pressure from your wound and the voice in your ear being like, "Kill her, kill her." 20.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely is the person you had encountered before. It's weird seeing her wearing your armor, but you've never seen a creature like this before. You'd be pretty sure if you saw it again, it's definitely them.
Would you like your armor back?
And bound. Well, before it gets cold, yes.
Okay.
It takes the group effort, but as she's knocked out, demonstrably, you very carefully through stages, rebind the hands or hold the hands, taking the armor off bit by bit. So it takes like 10 or 15 minutes, but you eventually get your armor back.
Why do we care about this thief? We just need to get the artifact. Well, then get the information here. Why do we need to bring her back to town?
You had no intention of taking information from her. You went
Then-
for her throat. Why, Captain?
Because she's hostile. Since when did we become paladins? Since when do people attack us before talking to us? Since when do people come into our camp and impostor other peoples of the party and then leave them out naked? How come you guys are... What?
I say as long as
So
Phil
we have
understands
we have
we're doing what we need to be
we
doing.
have a guy who is in a death cult that is not let you know what? You know, Finnan's gonna get up. He's gonna clean off his blades. He's gonna take a quick walk. Finn will be
Your
right back.
Your boots squelch as you step over all the massacred snake remains. Okay.
No, he is not.
We don't have to stay here tonight, right? I don't. Ooh, these snakes are gross.
I'd make a fire pit, and then I'd like to go flying and scout the area a little bit.
Sure. Very quickly, you scoop out the earth. There's a nice little fire pit. Anyone can gather some wood and burn fire in. And then you, once again, summon up your warlock power. And there's like this ethereal wave that forms around. And then, like a typhoon, shoots Keys up into the air and he goes flying away. You break through the canopy, and it takes you like a couple of minutes to get high enough up. You see now how the way the rolling hills would lead back to the river, and yeah, it's several days away, so it's kind of towards that horizon and more so. But back the other way, to the east, you see the way the mountains reach up, 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 and the way they are kind of like columns, these escarpments, the way they form. And there is a very narrow passage you can just make out between them. And if you strain a bit, you could swear you would see a settlement through that passage. Just on the other side of the way through the mountains is something.
I'd like to scribble it down real quick, and then go back down to Shuri.
Mm-hmm. Blind turtle.
Finnan's come back from his walk. Is Derek being a flying turtle again?
Yes. I went to scout a little bit.
So it looks as if from your normal pace right now, probably no more than another day's journey, maybe a day and a half to get to whatever that settlement is on the opposite side of the mountains, like just through the passage.
Shuri. There seems to be a settlement east of us. Passage through the mountain. Would you like to return Mitsumi to the elves or continue? Where was she hiding here? There seems to be ruins here. Should we investigate before leaving?
Would she have taken me to her hideout? Is that where I was?
You don't really remember much. You know that in the brief gap between others were not nearby you, somebody snuck up, seemingly knocked you out. You had some of the lingering effects, what felt like poison, but not any poison you've experienced before. and then you woke up hours later. One, you're like, oh shit, I was asleep. Did I fall asleep? And then as you got up, you noticed that you were kind of fucked up from the poison, and then you very quickly tried to catch up, and you did so very dangerously and got yourself a little bit hurt, but you made it back. So you, as far as you know, she came from somewhere in the jungle, and you were already like a half day back before, so you can't really tell if she came from a particular place.
Well,
You really want my answer to that one?
we know what you're gonna say, but
Yeah.
it seems like the settlement is the right place to go. We can't keep tracking or hauling this thing with us if we're gonna adventure. We need to drop it off at a village, or I don't know, get rid of it.
To the
Let's drop
captain's
her
point,
back.
it's easier to carry a head than it is an entire body. And all we need is proof, I assume.
All right. Can we try and interrogate this thing for information about the items that it stole and where it took it, or we can just leave it here for all I care. It can run away, but we've got things to do. We shouldn't worry about this thing's well-being too much. It's already an enemy of the magistrate, so like.
We
Bring it
definitely need
back
to
the
ask a question.
magistrate.
I don't think anyone cares if we bring her back. We want the items back.
I don't think it's reasonable for us to take her with us to the village, so I vote for interrogation and then murder.
I vote for interrogation and then murder as well. I support this.
I vote for interrogation and take her to that nearest village.
Nearest village. Then interrogation.
Many things can happen between where we're at now and that village. Let's question her.
I think the consensus is we interrogate her, and then we leave her bound up, and we just go on about our day.
Nope.
There's as this argument is going on, a voice pipes up. Do I get a vote or what?
No, Tim, not on this matter.
Oh man. I thought it'd be cool if you cut her head off.
Jesus Christ, Tim.
Because
We're-
you're not the best influence either. All right.
We're taking her back.
All right. Yeah, we can take her back after we explore the ruins. Definitely.
I pick her up and nod to Cherie and just like, let's go back to the village.
We're
All right,
interrogating her first.
Which direction are you going
With
first of all?
the party.
I'm waiting for Cherie to lead. I mean, then she can be brought back to the magistrate as a prisoner.
So that's just an FYI. You guys have been traveling the better part of 2 days just to get where you are right now. It'll probably be the same amount of time you head back.
I thought we were closer.
No,
No way,
you're more than halfway to your destination. You are not going to be very quickly getting back to where you came from. Oh,
We're in the forest.
Oh, you're in the jungle.
So if I
Where have we
understand
been
you
all
guys-
night?
If I understand your guys'
You know those
desires
all-terrain
correctly-
wagons, right, guys?
Yeah, like the magical one that just goes over roots and shit.
If I understand your
Okay,
intentions
let
correctly,
me-
you want to take
Sorry,
this
sorry,
creature
sorry.
to the village and then to the settlement and then all the way back to the city.
If there's a
a
way
lot
we
of
can
extra effort.
secure her, I prefer that. I am opposed to killing her.
we need to find out what she
the
knows.
fuck?
I'm indifferent.
Let's
to killing her
start
at this
there.
point.
You know what? I agree with Eyes. Keys, we interrogate her here and now, and then I don't care what happens to her. But if we don't want to kill her, then we can tie her to a tree, and then we can bring her back to the city on the way back. She's a freaking snake. She'll likely get out of it. But we need information now. Yeah, Finn's gonna tie her to a tree and get ready to start interrogating her.
Okay. You tie her to a tree.
All right.
I stand near in case I feel as if Finnan is going to kill her.
Sure.
I tell Tim to follow Sherry.
If I start to hear the words that the suggestion, release me, I'm just gonna hit it. So I'm
Okay.
readying that action.
I mean, if it depends what you guys want to do. You can easily bind her to a tree, and that includes her hands.
Oh yeah, easily.
However, you're going to interrogate her, she'll probably need to have some way to communicate.
Likely mouth open.
Okay. Do you unbind her mouth? She can have her mouth free.
Okay. We'll do that.
All right. So she's bound to a tree, hands bound up, legs bound up. She's not going anywhere, but she can talk. She's still unconscious.
I'm gonna take out
Okay.
my sword and point it at her and just say, "No tricks, witch."
Dude, she's unconscious still.
So
Oh, she is? Okay, okay.
I'll cast Mind Sliver, and hopefully the pain wakes her up.
Yeah, very quickly there's just and she's trying to like rip herself out of the tree.
I get down in front of her and I say, if you wish to help your people and stay alive for long enough to do so, you best be cooperative.
Give me real Ringo vibes, Derek.
Yep. She
You don't
quiets
know my
down a little bit.
past.
She quiets down a little bit, but she still looks very angrily at all of you, back and forth. She especially looks down to the sword, which is close to her neck.
Now, we have some questions for you. What items did you steal from the magistrate?
You wish to have back the magistrate's weapon, that which I stole, that which I will use. I think not.
Hmm. What use does it have to you?
Stone person, you would know best of all these foundlings. There is no peace, no life under the dragons. They must be killed once and for all, them and their creation.
Yes. Do you believe we took one down over the city?
I
Curious.
know you did.
Curious to why it was there. Would you?
Not yet dead. You should know this, man of stone.
And the Dragonborn? What do you think of them?
They are not worth the legacy they claim. They are merely borrowers of power. My people know true power. We have bent those from the far realm to our will. We have affected our bodies to gain power and knowledge for ourselves.
Hmm. What do you know of the far realm entrance to
We
this?
know the ways to draw it to us. My sisters and I shackled and bound one of their own and used it to build a great weapon. It lies buried even now. is where I am going, and that is where your folly awaits.
As would yours to use it, for it would not just be the dragon. We have fought such creatures, and they do not seek the elimination of one race or species, because all of us, if you should use such power.
That is because you are short-sighted and weak. Man of stone, your people are wanderers. Your people have no ability to create. We will feast upon you and your shells in due time.
See. I look at over my shoulder at Rickathan. Anything you would want to know?
Did you ask it what item it took?
Yes, I did. She didn't give me an answer.
Finn's gonna walk up. What item did you take?
Oh no. You're asking this to the creature who's tied up?
Yeah.
Its face just kind of like pivots to yours, and you see those yellow, venomous eyes.
I took that which could kill dragons.
And what is that?
You do not know. You are not worthy to behold this.
Finn's gonna use panache on the creature.
Okay.
Okay.
Because Mind Sliver was used, any saving throw that she has to take is taken with minus 1d4.
I'll roll the d4 first.
I got a 19 against her insight.
4. And then she rolls. I mean, it's -3, so. 5, fail.
Cool. So, since we're now amigas for the next minute, what item did you take that can slay the dragons?
Give me one quick second as I look something up. Do-do-do.
Panache.
Panache.
If it is
Panache.
not hostile, it is charmed by you for 1 minute. She is hostile.
Ah, bitch. All right, well, in any case, tell me again. What was the item that you took?
How close do you get to her, by the way?
Probably sword's length away.
Sword length away? Okay. She just kind of like extends her neck, and you can now see that as she opens her mouth and that forked tongue comes out, like there are even like fangs, like python fangs in her mouth.
You will not behold what I have taken. Ah.
And I'll ask again.
At this point, she stops really speaking
Except
words.
I'll speak in primordial.
Okay. You speak in primordial, which she does not understand, and she just kind of starts hissing and cursing you in a language that none of you seem to understand.
It's not even giant.
It's not giant. I don't think it's a language any of you have taken or would know.
Is it abyssal?
Is it abyssal? If you have abyssal, you would understand what she's saying.
I do.
Okay. She is basically calling upon gods whose names you do not recognize to curse every one of you. She wishes that you would be consumed by the great snake god over 1,000 years. And then what remains of your spirits would be shat out and then consumed again by the dead in penance.
Ooh, extreme. Why did she kill?
I attempt to interrupt her in this process.
Sure, what do you say back to her in Abyssal?
Silence, pathetic creature.
She pauses. Her eyes narrow on you.
You who have death touched. You who have the favor of a god. It was not enough.
What was not enough?
I came upon you in the night, and I took all of your tricks, all of your arms and armor. Who are you without the favor of a god, without a great house?
Still in Abyssal, I say, who are you now? You seem
I
to
am
not have
one
this thing.
who is changing, one who is becoming. I will be favored among all. My God reigns again.
Only he understands this, by the way. They are now having a conversation in a language neither of you speak. None of you speak.
I am stumped.
The last thing she does seem to say to Rickethan is, if you wish to behold true power, come with me to the ruins and I will show you death touched. She's saying that to you in Abyssal so that only the two of you understand.
I'm sure you have tricks. What is your real plan?
She just kind of gives you a smile and then leans back against the tree.
I address the rest of the party, and I tell them directly that she's hiding something in her hideout or whatever, and she has tempted me with power.
Seems as if we might have a guide.
Again in Abyssal, I will regard her and say, show us the way. Or, she's still bound.
I go in front of her and once again I say, if you would be so kind as to show us the way. I am sincerely interested to see these ruins and sisters of yours.
And
Otherwise, they might be meeting you in a different manner. And then as I say that, I morph into her.
there's a look of discontent. And then she will look down and look back up at you.
I will show you the way, man of stone.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session, folks.
Nice.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
Damn! That was some heavy RP.
That was good. I loved how we were gonna kill her or not, and we came to a solution. That felt good.
I'm not very good at RP.
You're getting better. What are you talking about? That
Yeah.
was good.
That was solid. I like that.
I
Oh.
actually never thought I'd be able to use Abyssal. I picked it because it sounded cool. And
Because
there we
it
go.
sounded cool.
I'm looking at the sheet right now, and they're like, they speak Abyssal. I'm like, okay. Technically, they also speak Draconic, but that's the dragon language. She wouldn't speak that except for spy purposes.
Yeah.
The
I know
hell did we run
primordial.
into?
What?
The hell did we run into with this thing?
That's a great question.
I am curious when they like invaded, when they got in.
Mhm.
And what was it like at the night? Like the first camp night out in the jungle?
So at some point, I asked for a secret roll from Rikathin. God, what did you roll?
13.
Yeah, and I had I had an 18 on that, so that was the moment. So yeah, during that period where he's like away from y'all, and you're all not really focused on his direction, she used some fuckery, sneaky
Why did
fuckery.
she kill him?
Good question. Why did she leave him alive?
Yeah, that's cool.
Very good question.
Different agent of death, maybe? Different type of death?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then you're getting like murder hobo. You're going full
I don't
murder
think
hobo.
so. I think I had intent.
I mean, it seemed pretty logical. Like, how do we trust
Yeah.
this person?
The
Killed
thing
the thing
fucking
he's
tried to
trying to
run
kill us.
away. What?
It's always a good litmus test when you present these kinds of things. So, yes, you have a potential source of information and a help. I love how you guys kept screaming for a guide, and then right at the end, I'm like, yeah, they're a guide, but they're evil. So, good luck.
Yep.
Let's
Like,
follow them.
She didn't kill Rikathin, so I feel as if I'd be going against some pack stuff if I let you kill her.
What pact did you take?
I'm a pally.
Yeah, well, what type of paladin? What's your oath?
So he took the critical role, Oath of the Open Seas. No,
Yeah.
wait, what did you take?
No,
Hang on.
that is it. That is.
Okay.
And what's that do?
It's interesting. It's kind of weird. Like it does value freedom over. So technically, it does value freedom over bonds. So
Is that gonna get me in trouble?
it's interesting that you were like you shouldn't release her because technically your oath would say that you should have released her, but also probably that she's evil. You should have killed her.
Yeah, it's.
So you were wrong for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
just say
okay
he's
if
been
you
lucky.
kill I'm okay if you kill me in an encounter, but I'm glad you didn't kill me because I'm really enjoying this character.
No, I wouldn't have killed you. No, that would have been fun.
You failed your roll. Sorry, you're dead.
No, that's I'm never okay with that. I'm never. I was okay with the role taking him away from the RP for a little bit, but the agency should not have ever been gone. So I wouldn't have like done things in his name that would have hurt his reputation. Probably to fuck with you guys a little bit, but
Yeah.
it was more so just to do the Spider-Man pointing meme where you saw two Rickathins and had to figure out which was which.
I liked it.
It would have been crazy if it was faux Rikathin for like more than like a couple of days. Like if it happened right before we left the city.
Yeah, I would have needed more prep time. This was kind of a last minute decision. Otherwise, I would have reached out to him ahead of time and be like, hey, we're going to do this thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now I'm like kind of skeptical that it might be a good idea to just check in with folks and kind of ask them a question about the past to see how much
Or maybe
they know.
I did reach out to him earlier and we've double faked you both and you've tied up the real Rickathin.
Could be.
Right, double faked. Yeah, I probably should have been more okay with killing her.
Just like, when have we
Binding
ever
her as-
cared?
The night
binding
is
her-
young.
Yeah, binding her doesn't oppose it due to her trying to use her power to dominate others.
Well, from our mission for the Tritons, we were specifically sent to kill her because they were, if I'm remembering correctly, because like they made the attack against the whole kingdom.
Yeah,
But
but then
with
we
this
brought
one-
her back.
Okay, so
And
that's where I'm wrong for
then
that one,
look what happened to the kingdom. Nothing.
I'm misremembering my order of events then. You're right. She was there.
Yeah, then we had that giant
and then it got
shark.
attacked. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Last time we brought anyone back, nothing good has happened.
I just didn't want to carry her all the way to the new village and then all the way back. That seems like a lot of extra energy.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
You know, I was also kind of thinking that.
You could also take her to the place she wants to go and kill her there.
sacrifice an acolyte to the greater power.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sure
I-
that won't have any problems whatsoever. You just cut her throat open right under sacred land, and nothing bad will happen whatsoever.
That
It's
sounds
it's like taking the golden eyeball out of the ancient Egyptian priestesses.
Yeah,
It's-
totally cool.
Still,
Totally cool.
so no, that was good. That was really good.
Yeah, it was.
The best part is we're just getting started. This is definitely still in the pre-mission. So this is a multi-part adventure. You guys got plenty ahead of you.
My God. I just let him prepare everything for next session and decide to go back to the village.
No. What?
Yeah.
No. Why would we go back to the village? There's nothing there. We have to
1
go
week
get the
later,
item.
we
Oh
get
my-
back to our same spot.
Right.
I'll just have more encounters prepared. There's just gonna be more
Oh.
random encounters. Like if you think that pit was something, I got a sheet of 1,000 choices. So
Oh, I know.
we'll just keep pulling random shit. Like okay, now you guys encounter this weird shit.
Right.
Nice.
You think you think a body with armor on it coming out of the river is bad? Oh, I got all kinds of crazy shit we could pull on you.
Oh, I know.
There's no civilization or anything out here. It's just random shit in a pressure cooker, getting worse and worse.
Gotta love it.
Well, that was a great session. I look forward to our next one. I look forward to you guys continue your strategizing because that's always fun. I love when you guys stand in a group and get to talk out decisions. That's wonderful. And now I get to try to make dinner and prepare for another shitty week. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
The first thing I have to do before anything else is prep a goddamn Mac to go out to a user overnight because their Mac got coldly locked out. Their accounts are fucked. So
That's
that's
funny.
fun. I fucking
That's
hate supporting
unfortunate.
Macs.
I don't understand how they work, so.
Neither do the people that use them, and they keep insisting they have to have them for design reasons. And I'm like, you don't know anything about computers. Literally everything that we run can run on PC. Like they love Adobe, and I'm like, yeah, Adobe is not made for Mac. They can make it work on Mac, but it's optimized for PCs. This is stupid. Ugh. Anyways,
Anyways.
Um,
Good
stuff.
session.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
thanks everybody.
Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody.
See
Take
y'all
care.
Bye.
Adios. Bye.
Good
Night, night.
night.